Information found within the Foundation database is classified. Access by unauthorized personnel is strictly prohibited. Perpetrators will be tracked, located, and detained. We here at the Foundation have been given strict guidelines for every one of you to listen, learn, and attempt to comprehend sensitive subject matters as an alternate form of testing. You willfully have joined this project, and any exposure to the subject material is considered highly dangerous, and viewer discretion is advised.
Some or all of the SCPs mentioned within today's presentation. You are reminded that all information given today is done so at the sole discretion of the site director, and sharing anything without authorization of a Foundation member with the correct clearance level will result in immediate termination of your contract and the administration of Class B amnestics. By entering the room, you have a ground to be bound by these rules and to abide by all security protocols, containment procedures, and other Foundation regulations. We are here once again, my friends. We are back.
Indeed.
I'm 100% not ready. We are ahead of time. Because I am very well prepared. Okay, I've been busy. My arm got bitten off the other day. It's only just grown back, so
Wait, what?
bear with me.
Wait, growing back?
Don't question it. Yours don't grow back? That sounds more like a you problem than anything.
I suppose
questions.
then maybe. What do we think?
Yes, definitely one of those things. Okay, right, I'm messing around with some things, trying to get stuff to work in the right way, and we're just gonna do it this way.
You got a cold over there, Doctor? Your voice sounds a little deeper today.
Who, me?
No.
Just gonna say, I ain't no fucking doctor. I'm a professor, thank you very much.
You
I'm
too.
just listening.
Sweet dulcet tones of my voice. I've forgotten where I put this. Why is everything in the wrong place?
Because it's been a crazy week, Professor.
Why, yes, it has. Right. Okay, so I need this. And then I need to click that. Also that. And also press that button.
Do you want me to take over the board?
No, I'm Gucci.
Take away
I'm
his
Gucci, bro.
whiteboard
Don't worry about
marker.
this. Don't worry about this.
Now
I'm just,
seriously take away his whiteboard marker.
Yeah, we're just gonna take those away.
I'm
Yeah.
alive. I'm
How
fine.
much of that
Don't.
candy did you eat last week?
I don't remember. Okay, so it's 4241 that we're starting with.
Yes.
Nice, sick, excellent, good job, bro. Right, so now I need this,
What's wrong with him?
then
Unsure.
this. Why isn't this doing the thing that I need it to do?
He sounds like me, normally.
Hey man, we have our update. Why aren't you showing up?
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's personal.
What?
Take him
It
out
wasn't
of
me.
here. Take him out
Don't
of
worry
here.
about it.
Take him out of here and find the real one.
I am the real one, don't worry about it.
He's
No.
not the real one.
Don't worry about it.
Should I shoot?
No.
Please do not.
Oh, I never get to use it.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Right away.
Go. Now. Follow them.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, I'm back in the
Follow
room.
them.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Follow.
Now.
Chill your bill. Chill your bill.
Uh,
Okay. I am ready to start, by the way. I am no longer temporarily
Did
distracted.
somebody find the actual professor? Is he trapped in the bathroom again?
No, it's definitely me. I've remembered my position within the company. Everything is fine. Should we begin with SCP-4241 by any chance? I think that would be a good place to go, don't you? Item number SCP-4241, Object Class Keter. Special containment procedures are as follows. Due to the scarcity of information regarding the nature and capabilities of SCP-4241, effective containment procedures have not yet been developed. Research is ongoing. Currently, the most effective method of detecting SCP-4241 lies in conducting a psychological test aimed at the detection of clinical depression in a passing subject. This test is to be passed by all subjects who have been in close proximity or verbally in contact with the infected individuals, and by all Site-224 personnel, including D-Class employees and persons of interest currently residing in the site. A positive result is to be considered a sign of SCP-4241 contamination, provided that the subject did not exhibit similar symptoms prior to SCP-4241's discovery. All affected subjects are to be formally isolated, now supervised, and provided psychological assistance if required. Site-224 is to be placed under a full lockdown until the nature of SCP-4241 is understood and more efficient containment procedures are developed. SCP-4241 is a designation for an anomalous phenomenon, formerly classified as a virus, affecting the human psyche. Currently, all of the Site-224 employees are considered to be affected by SCP-4241. The exact mechanism of SCP-4241's effects is still poorly understood, as it does not affect the subject's physical state and cannot be detected through medical examination. SCP-4241 is capable of transmitting over long distances with no apparent pattern, formerly classified as from one subject to another, as with a regular virus. However, obviously this was then discovered to be otherwise. Recent SCP-4241 activity has shown that it is able to spread while all affected subjects are isolated. Through testing and interviews with affected subjects, it was established that virtually all of the affected individuals exhibit a number of similar symptoms related to their psychological health, some of which are usually associated with clinical depression. SCP-4241's effect is primarily characterized by malaise, irritability, and persistent fatigue in the early stages, and the subject's inability to enter an affective state, characterized by the positive emotions, for example, the state of amusement or happiness. With the onset of later stages, typically after 4 to 5 days after initial contamination. Most of the subjects are also exhibiting such symptoms as loss of appetite and palate, as well as an irrational fear of falling asleep. Affected individuals had also reported experiencing dreams during REM sleep, a unique phase of sleep in mammals and birds, distinguishable by a random or rapid movement of the eyes, accompanied with low muscle tone throughout the body, and the propensity of the subject to dream vividly, the content of which cannot be remembered by the subject after awakening, but causes recurring psychological distress. It is currently unclear if the dreams are caused by the anomalous effects or by a natural stress reaction. The initial discovery of SCP-4241 took place on the 12th of August 2019. It is believed that the phenomenon has started spreading somewhere around that time and is related to the outcome of the mission performed by Mobile Task Force Omega-31, aka Sticky Fingers, a week prior. We now have an addendum, which is the head researcher's notes. The following is a transcript of audio logs made by Dr. Bishop during his investigation regarding SCP-4241, which were accessed through his personal recording device shortly after Incident 4241 Delta. For more information, see the Incident Report 4241 Delta report. The first date is the 16th of August 2019.
Today I was assigned to SCP-424. Am I supposed to read this?
I'm fairly sure.
Well, okay. Today I was assigned to SCP-4241 as the head researcher since the preceding assigned researcher has been affected by it. I was granted the permission to edit SCP-4241's description directly if I find new information regarding this phenomenon. As suggested by the instructions, I will be recording the information regarding SCP-4241 and the situation in the site in general over the course of my research in order to preserve the collected data in case something bad happening to me or SCP-4241's document. Currently, 12 Site 224 employees are infected by SCP-4241. It is believed that the main pocket of infection is in the site's medical department, although SCP-4241 may be present in other departments as well. The goal of the research is to acquire more information regarding SCP-4241's nature and develop efficient containment measures for it. The medical examination and body fluid analysis of the affected subjects have already been conducted. I'm hoping that this time we'll be able to get the results.
The next log is from the following day, the 17th of August 2019.
The situation here isn't as smooth as desired. Although there were no orders regarding the site's lockdown, security personnel doesn't let anyone outside. Currently, the directive from the security department is to stay inside the facility until the situation is better understood. Something tells me that they don't want to alarm the employees, and in reality, the lockdown is just a matter of time. The medical examination of the affected subjects has shown that absolutely nothing is wrong with them, at least physically. It doesn't make them feel better, though, as psychological tests are still showing the same results. Additionally, we had to move all subjects considered to be affected to quarantine. It's very surreal to lock your friends and colleagues into chambers and treat them like anomalies, but we have no other choice. Site's medical department has been unofficially labeled as a restricted area. No one is willing to go there anymore, and I can't blame them. I am sure it will be better to shut it down completely, as we can't risk the health of not affected employees.
Following log is from the next day again, the 18th of August 2019.
Quarantine didn't work. More people started to exhibit similar symptoms. The signs of SCP-4241 are across the site now. If it truly is a virus, then it's one of the most contagious I've ever seen. My attempts to find some kind of pattern in SCP-4241 spreading or its victims has failed miserably. The research isn't completely hopeless, though. I still have some theories that are worth testing. I've interviewed one of the affected subjects today. To be more precise, it was an agent whose name is She's colorfully described it as what it feels like to be affected. More information was practically identical to what we were able to require through testing. There was that one detail I can't get out of my head. Has mentioned that sometimes she gets a sudden feeling of anxiety when going to sleep. Like the idea of falling asleep is worrying to her. She said that this feeling was with her since she was affected by SCP-4241 and couldn't find any reason for it. Looks like SCP-4241 is able to affect the subject's psyche on multiple levels, even though there's no traces of it within the subject's body. This gave me an idea. SCP-4241 doesn't necessarily have to be a virus or exist in physical reality at all to affect its victims. Tomorrow I'll get a response from the memetic department and try to reach out to the anti-memetic team as well. Maybe the answer is closer than we think.
Once again, the following day, the 19th of August 2019.
Looks like I'm not bad at predicting. From now on, we're under lockdown. The order came in this morning, followed by a report regarding an increasing number of subjects affected by SCP-4241. And given that we don't know the nature of this disease, they had to not only lock us inside the facility, but also stop the information from going in and out in case of SCP-4241 being an info hazard. No communications with other sites. Now, possibility to use cell phones or leave the facility. It's just us and those white walls now. I'm considering giving those employees what they were moved to quarantine a possibility to spend some time outside of it while remaining under supervision. Constantly residing in the chambers affects their mental state. Sorry. Felt like I needed to sneeze for a second. Constantly residing in the chambers affects their mental state negatively, and SCP-4241 seems to be spreading anyway. If we keep one part of the infected inside the chambers, all the while letting others roam the site freely, it may cause some concerns. I've got the response from the memetic department. Unfortunately, they couldn't find anything. The anti-memetic team also conducted a thorough analysis. No anti-memetic agents of any sort were detected, so we'll just have to keep searching.
I unmuted when I thought I muted, and I muted when I thought I unmuted. Great. Following log
Can
is
somebody
from
get the real professor?
from the following day again, the 20th of August 2019.
Today I've conducted 2 or more interviews with affected subjects, former junior researchers. They both reported feeling persistent anxiety when going to sleep and even thinking about doing so. It seems like they all have dreams that leave them very distressed, but no one can remember what exactly is they were dreaming about after awakening. And if that wasn't enough, today we found out that a researcher who was one of the first SCP-4241 victims took his own life. We all agreed on the fact that right now it's important to not let this one-off case become a tendency. It's not so easy to do, though, especially considering that all the medication we tried has shown no effect on any of the affected subjects. It looks like the deadline of this research is far closer than I thought.
2 days later, the 22nd of August 2019.
I'm infected. To be fair, it is hard to find someone in this facility who isn't. The research team says that it could be a mistake and we should run some additional tests, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm sure I had a nightmare last night because I woke up screaming so loudly you'd think I saw the most terrifying thing in my life. But of course I can't remember anything. The research has reached a dead end and I have no idea what the source of SCP-4241 could be. I didn't record anything yesterday because there was virtually nothing to report. Everything is getting worse, but at the same time, the whole situation seems so stable. No monster outbreaks, no horrific events happening to people, nobody is dying either. Site's AIC is fine, containment protocols are still functioning, the site looks almost normal if you look at it from the outside.
An unknown date later in the month, the 20-somethingth of August 2019.
So, a couple, 2 or 3 days ago, I decided that if we can't understand SCP-4241's nature, we can approach it from a different direction. Maybe finding out how and when it started will help us in some way. So I've been in the archive for all this time trying to pinpoint the exact timestamp when it happened and draw some kind of connections. I didn't have any sleep the past 2, 3, 4 nights. I just couldn't bring myself to close my eyes. Even the thought about having to experience those nightmares again gives me the creeps. When I was a kid, I was often afraid to go back to sleep after having a bad dream, because I feared that it might happen again. This feeling is similar, but in this case, you don't think that the bad dream might repeat. You know it will. My coffee's running out, so it's going to be a problem soon.
Another unknown date, presumably later on in the same month, in August of 2019.
I found something. When I was looking through the missions of the mole task forces, which took place over the course of this month, one of them caught my eye. It's the last mission of Mega 31, during which they raided some apartment at the neighboring town. It reported that the residents were storing and using various anomalous items, but the reports were a little exaggerated. The operation resulted in the mobile task force capturing one person and discovering 8 tapes with minor anomalous properties. It wasn't so long before SCP-4241 started spreading. and members of Omega 31 were the first people to exhibit these symptoms. We couldn't find any anomalous influence, though, but maybe we just weren't searching close enough. There's very little data regarding the captured person of interest himself. During the last interview, he didn't really want to share any information with us, but maybe now, when we are all spiraling into anomalous depression, he'll react differently. At least I hope so. The interview will be conducted tomorrow.
We come now to another addendum, the interview log between the interviewer, Dr. Bishop, and we'll call him POI 3749. Begin log.
Greetings, Mr. Do you know why this interview was conducted?
Honestly, no idea.
Alright, I'll share some information with you. As you're probably aware, right now, this place is going through a very tough time. Usually the door would be guarded by at least 2 armed personnel whose goal would be to instantly react if you attacked me or decided to leave this room. Currently, it's not the case and they're needed elsewhere. But I'd like to clarify that since the whole facility is on lockdown, it would be even harder for you to escape if you tried.
Save your bragging for someone who cares. Even if I wanted to escape, I really don't have the energy to do so. I don't think there is even a point now. What's the use of leaving this place if those awful feelings will haunt you anyway? Listen, I feel like a pile of shit right now. Can we please postpone this interview?
Unfortunately, we can't do that. There's very little time left. I know how you feel right now, trust me. I'm infected too, but I can't let this temporary difficulty distract me from my work.
Well, since I have no choice whatsoever, go ahead, I guess.
Let's start with the most important one. Do you know what exactly is happening to the facility personnel?
No. What makes you assume that?
Well, there are some strange coincidences regarding the current incident and the last mission of the Mobile Task Force which brought you here. Firstly, SCP-4241 started spreading shortly after your arrival at the facility. Secondly, the first people to exhibit symptoms associated with SCP-4241 were the Mobile Task Force members and the site's medical expert and her assistant who examined you.
And?
Also, some of the items we found at your location are exhibiting minor anomalous properties. I find more than believable that those facts are more than mere coincidence, mister. If you truly can answer my previous question, then let's start from the very beginning. What exactly were you doing prior to the arrival of the Mobile Task Force?
I don't know what you're... Fuck it. I don't think it really matters anymore. First of all, I'd like to say that nothing that happens right now is my fault. I mean, what kind of person in their right mind would bring this infection upon us?
I'm not accusing you of anything. Now please answer the question.
Well, most of the time we slept, and I mean it. You see, somewhere around 3 months ago, we really got into all this dream stuff. Lucid dreaming, what dreams can say about your mental state, OBE, and things like that. After finding some material on this topic, we decided that we're ready to try ourselves. Rented a small, really quiet small apartment, so no one from the outside world would bother us, and the rest is history. It was just lucid dreaming and some experiences at first, but then we wanted something more, so we started our tries to entering the dream plane.
Dream plane? Can you elaborate?
Oh my god, do I really have to explain it all? I mean, you know what astral is, right? There's a huge number of newbies who will read a bunch of useless books about it and believe they understood every aspect of it and become enlightened or something. Especially on the internet. You should have heard this term before.
You're right, I did. Please continue.
Okay, I'll keep it simple. So the astral is considered to be accessible through dreaming, lucid dreaming, I mean. The idea is that your consciousness leaves your physical body and travels to the other realm, but returns when you wake up. There's even a huge collective of people who are fully aware of how astral functions. It doesn't matter much how you call this place. The thing is, to even reach it, you'll have to practice for weeks.
Shit, made it right. No. One moment, I'm having a technical difficulty.
I blame SCP-37084.
One moment. It won't let me back into the document.
Are you sure you have the right clearances?
Of course I have the right clearances.
Have you tried
Debatable.
reloading the page?
We're just full of problems today.
Like I said, we're so well prepared.
Shut up,
It's almost as if
imposter.
we planned this.
Only people who are not prepared are you both. Surprisingly.
I was prepared fine until something's just.
No,
I'm not
no.
going to sit here and lie and
Explain.
pretend I was prepared.
Till something stopped working. I have all of them here, and then this one copped out on me in the middle of.
Well,
Have you-
use your
have you-
personal tablet that you bring around everywhere. Go ahead and look at it on there.
I don't bring it around everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's not everywhere.
Either you do that or you just forfeit the position.
No, I'm fine.
All I'm saying is, it is company policy to keep your emergency tablet on you at all times.
I do have my emergency tablet. I thought he was talking crap about me having it all the time. Oh, look, there it goes. As soon as I pull out my tablet, it starts working.
Yes, that's taking advantage of Dr. Murphy. His amazing inventions.
Uh-huh.
So, just as a reminder of where you were when you get there, the last thing that was stated was that they have to practice for weeks in order to reach the astral.
So you were practicing before the MTF raided your den, is that it? And for how long?
Yeah, obviously we were. For long enough to reach the dream plane and to one-up all those normies from the astral-related websites.
So I imagine you do have at least some knowledge regarding this phenomenon.
I mean, if I had to guess, probably predators.
Excuse me?
You know how almost every species has at least one predator to keep things balanced? The physical world isn't the only place where this concept works.
Are you trying to say that the dream plane has predators too?
Yeah, a whole bunch of them actually. Different shapes and sizes, and you probably figured it out already.
We're their prey?
Yes, at least to an extent. They can't attack our physical bodies, though. They can do something to us only when we're trying to enter the world or just having lucid dreams. I mean, the chances that you'll come into contact with one of those creepy shits while having fun on your own little universe are pretty slim, but it's possible. Those worlds are a single whole after all.
Any additional information about what we're facing?
Not much. I really have no clue, or rather, what exactly is responsible for all this shit. I've entered the dream plane for over about a dozen times myself, but didn't observe those creatures long enough. But from what I heard of, the nightmares, the malaise, and this fucking feeling I can't get rid of, I'm sure it's related. Fuck. Now, when I'm thinking about it, charging into a dream plane like that was such a retarded decision.
Please stay calm. We will resolve it. I hope. Why would you even try and access this plane if it's so dangerous?
Why would anyone do anything? Curiosity. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself, or something. I don't remember how this saying goes, by the way. Those tapes you stole from us were supposed to improve our results.
I don't think stole is the right... Oh, doesn't matter. Could you please specify in which way those tapes helped you in your practice?
As you say, Mrs. Doctor, there isn't something super special about those tapes, but they are helpful. In fact, they just make you remember your dreams.
This effect seems very interesting.
Yeah, when one of us would drop off while listening to tapes, they'd remember all their dreams after awakening. I'm sure you have no idea what I'm talking about, but for someone practicing lucid dreaming, it is very important to remember or to write down the dreams. Those things really helped out a lot, and I asked to protect them. But, well, looks like I'm just fucking awful at my job. At least I'm glad others managed to escape before your goons came in. Even though, right now they're probably affected too. Now that I think about it, it's a possibility, and some of us might be already in the same condition as I, or even worse. And because of the stupid idea to enter this plane was without good preparation, all because I told them to do it. I told them, and that was my idea. Why did I insist on doing it? None of this would have happened.
Calm down. I understand how you feel right now, and I can assure you that even if your friends are affected, we'll find a way to save them. Right now, we have to understand how to oppose this phenomenon.
No, it's just... Sorry. It happens. Anything else you want to know?
I have to ask one final question. You told me that the tapes will make you remember your dreams. So does it work with every dream?
As far as I can tell, and yet to face a situation where they wouldn't leave you with a crisp and clear image of what you saw while napping.
Thanks. That's all I needed to know.
Glad to help. Now, could you just leave me alone?
Yes, I'm gonna leave you now. This interview is concluded. I thank you for the information you've provided. It will be helpful.
I fucking hope so.
There we go. Excellent. So we have now come to the final addendum, incident report 4241 Delta. As a summary, at 10 a.m. on the 28th of August 2019, Dr. Bishop was found unconscious in the dwelling unit at Site 224. Reportedly, they had the headphones on and were holding their personal recording device in the left hand. An audio player with an anomalous item designated as A03966-2G inside was found next to him. Subsequent medical examination and analysis of the brain activity have shown that Dr. Bishop is in a state similar to comatose, the cause of which is unknown. Currently residing in Site 224's security department and is inspected for anomalous properties. The following is a transcript of the last recording by Dr. Bishop, presumably made no earlier than several hours prior to his discovery. The date is as yet unknown.
It worked. I saw them. Now they won't be able to hide in the back of our minds anymore. Judging by the fact I can barely talk right now, I probably don't have a lot of time to record this. So I'll try and keep it brief. Yesterday I retrieved one of the tapes from its locker, turned on the audio player, and tried to fall asleep. It was a long struggle due to the anxiety and the fact that I'm not used to sleeping with headphones on, but at roughly 4 a.m. I was able to finally start dreaming. What that dream was, at first I had a weird itchy feeling as if some bug was trying to crawl up my leg. Apparently I tried to smash it by reflex and it didn't help and the itch only got worse. started feeling it on different body parts. I finally opened my eyes and tossed it down the blanket. Next thing I saw was a bunch of those creatures running around with their little sticky legs. They were roughly 4 centimeters large. I couldn't make out any details because of those shits were pretty scared by me trying to slam them and quickly run off. I jumped out of bed and managed to kill one, stained my hand in some disgusting purple goo. It was then I realized that my body was still lying on the bed and I wasn't controlling it. In fact, I was observing it from a distance. Could also pick up the sound of crashing ocean waves from the audio player since it was pretty loud. I heard a gross popping sound from under my desk and saw a black stain moving out of there. Presumably it was one of those things. The image was very blurry, so I couldn't tell for sure. I looked under the desk and there was a cluster of purple glowing eggs. Fucking cluster of spider eggs in my room. There were at least 50, and judging by the looks of them, some had already hatched. I can't recall exactly what I was doing after that. In the next part of the dream, I was already walking down one of the site's halls. The floor was covered in some kind of black slime, which made a gross sound every time I stepped on it, and those insects, they were all over the place. Some of them were 2-3 times larger than the ones I saw in my bed. Their employees were also there. Interestingly enough, nobody cared about those things rolling around. I guess you could call that dream logic. After all, it was my dream. Then I met... She was walking down the hall and greeted me when I approached her. It was something like deja vu because I clearly remember seeing those events in my previous dreams, seeing and then forgetting. Looking up at Pete, I could tell she was very ill. She turned her back to me, and on her back, a giant thing. It was half the size of... At the moment, I understood that the insects in my bed were just younglings. This one looked like a bizarre mixture of cockroach, spider, and mosquito. It wrapped its thin legs around her torso and shoved its long proboscis into her neck. It was sucking something out of there, I swear, and at that point I nearly pushed myself out of the dream because of the panic, but something didn't let me. After a couple of seconds, this monster, as if everything else wasn't enough, weakened its grab on and switched its direction on me. I fled. I have no idea why, but at the time I thought the best place to run was to the cafeteria. I don't remember how I got here. The only thing I remember is stepping on a couple of those creatures in the process. I opened the door and saw a lot of employees. Some of them were having a meal, others were chatting with each other, but all of them looked very unhappy. It was just like the times I visited the cafeteria in real life, but this time there were a whole bunch of those insects too, and it seemed like nobody noticed them. But they were just everywhere. The big ones were feeding on the employees, and the smaller ones just moved around on the floor, walls, and tables. I screamed as loudly as I possibly could. It was probably my biggest mistake. Creatures immediately noticed me, and this time they were way too fast for me to run away. Started crawling up, and there were so many. Their legs were everywhere. I couldn't see. I woke up right after feeling a sharp pain in my neck. And strangely enough, that pain didn't go away. My vision gets all blurry and colorless. Just like in that dream, must be their defense mechanism. Unfortunately, I have no idea what it will do to me. But at least now I know what SCP-4241 really is. We've made a huge mistake. All this time we were chasing a non-existent virus or a deadly mimetic agent. Those creatures were sucking our will to live out with a straw.
And that is... Oh, wait, sorry, there's an afterword as well. Upon discovering the recording, further testing with the usage of AO-3966-2G was approved by Site 224's director in order to determine the credibility of Dr. Bishop's observations, and research is currently ongoing. And that at last brings us to the end of item 4241. Theories, anyone?
Not entirely.
I mean, the bug thing seems pretty cut and dry to me, to be honest with you.
It just reminds me of those like face huggers.
I know what you mean. I was thinking about Alien, the series was that part was being read, especially with the black stuff everywhere and kind of it being sort of goopy. Oddly enough, it
Video
sounds very
game
similar.
Halo.
Yeah. Sounds very similar to my own nightmares, where like you notice there's an insect and then you turn around and there's another insect on the floor. They're like freakishly big. And like then you realize that there are insects everywhere, and everywhere you step there's another one, and you can't get rid of them and you can't avoid them, and they've got too many legs, and everywhere you move there's another one just trying to touch you. And then eventually you realize the whole floor, the walls and everything is covered with it, and they're like falling in over the tops of the doors, and the whole place just gets flooded with these insects.
Are you okay?
No.
Just dreams.
Oh. Yeah, but it's still freaky as shit.
Suppose so.
Alright.
It's even worse if they're like spiders or they've got like webs or something to like catch. Or just thinking about it, not great.
Let's move on.
Please.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, let's move on to item 4382.
Surprisingly, it's only a level 2 restriction, so plus.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, it's all good.
Item number 4382, Containment Class Euclid, Disruption Class Koenig, Risk Class Warning. There's an image that was taken from an aerial drone that you all can see on the page at the moment. Special containment procedures. All satellite and flyover data of the SCP-4382 affected region must be actively censored. Blockades and checkpoints have been constructed along all roads leading to SCP-4382. Outpost 4382 will continue to monitor the SCP's rate of expansion. All personnel assigned to SCP-4382 must work in paired teams. Partners should be chosen with strong pre-existing relationships. If any member of staff begins to exhibit looping behaviors, contact the Outpost medical team immediately, then employ the following measures. 1. Speak their names loudly and clearly, using varying titles and nicknames. 2. Use light physical contact such as shaking the shoulders or jostling. 3. Make sudden loud noises such as clapping, snapping, or shouting. 4. Elaborate on a shared experience or past event. Focus on key sensory details. Description of this SCP-4382 is a town of Holwick, Kentucky, USA. Since October 18, 2018, this town has been encased in a reality-altering anomaly affecting 8.7 kilometers squared and expanding outward in a spherical radius at 0.5 meters per month. Each viewed from the exterior, this soap produced a mild visual distortion. Staff has described this phenomenon as like the skin of a giant soap bubble. All objects, animals, and people inside the town of Holwick will continuously perform a single pattern of actions ad infinitum, and with total disregard for any physical laws. This effect is poorly documented as the area of SCP-4382 causes severe aliasing and static interruption in all forms of visual data. Audio transmissions appear unaffected. On May 18, 2019, Mobile Task Force Xi-5, Newton's Bullies, were dispatched to investigate this anomaly and determine its source. Exploration Log 1, SCP-4382. Date 2019, May 18th, 1:15 p.m. Location Outpost 4382. Mobile Task Force Xi-5 Newton's Bullies.
Xi-5, this is Command. Please report in.
5-1, comms online.
5-2, comms online.
5-3, comms online.
5-4, comms online.
squad is green, Command. We just finished our last equipment check. CAD counters, Stanford clocks, and live lights are all calibrated.
Roger, Xi-5, you are cleared to enter 4382. Locate the source of the anomaly and contain if possible. If not, document everything you can.
You heard them, boys. Let's get weird.
The task force are observed by Outpost 4382 video drones entering the distortion field. Straight line formation, 5-second delays.
Command, we're in. Looking up, the sun's completely changed position. Looks like early morning around here, and we're getting 3 ticks on the cube already. Team, remember the protocols, no dwelling or anything. Vary up your sights, your sounds, and your thoughts. We've got a long hike to go into town.
Yes, Captain. Confirm, sir.
Affirmative, team leader. Good, let's get moving.
16 minutes of radio silence. Team chatter expunged.
Command, we're about 30 minutes out. We're coming up over the hill. I can see the main thoroughfare and the clock tower. Anyone else got eyes?
Nothing yet, Captain. It's all baseline. I mean, except the fact that we're walking through an October forest in May. It's kind of nice, actually. I've always loved autumn.
I figure after 8 months it gets old. Hold on. Hey, Command, I've got a squirrel.
5-4, please repeat.
Squirrel, Command. Red American specifically. It's on a low branch of a nearby tree. I swear it's been chewing on the same acorn for the past 20 seconds.
I see it. I'm going to approach.
Good. Use caution, 5-3.
It's a friggin' squirrel! Thanks. I copy, Command.
5-3 approaches the subject.
Huh, yeah. It's not responding to my presence at all. I'm nearly touching the thing. The acorn, wow, freaky. The squirrel's eating it in a typical turn and bite way, and the previous bites are growing back at an equal pace. It's like an endless acorn. I wonder, oh, wow!
Thanks, are you alright?
Yeah, sorry, I just sort of flicked it. Now, yep, it's dead, Command. It dropped right out of the tree. You weren't clear to engage, 5-3. Sorry, Captain, but it's good to know before we encounter any people, eh? Command, we should get a sample of...
Sir? Sir, I think Higgs. You good? Hey, Higgs!
Task force converges on Xi-52's location. Someone is heard snapping loudly.
5-2, Higgs. Higashi, Yasuo, snap out of it, come on.
5-2 does not respond. Very faint, repetitive mumbling is heard over 5-2's combling.
Man, I think 5-2 is limping. He's crouched around by a bird. I think the drop of water is falling from one of the leaves, but just before it reaches the ground or reappears on the leaves, it just forms, rolls, and drops. It forms, rolls, and drops. Forms, rolls, and drops. Sorry, Captain, I don't know.
Command, I think I've got 5-2. He's loose, but he's a bit glossy-eyed.
Center retrieval team for 5-2. Should we scrub?
Negative, Command. We're already here. Thanks. Socks, you're still green?
That's a copy, Captain. Higgs, hey buddy, keep looking at me, okay? Dispatch is coming. You'll be at the outpost in no time. You've got one of Molly's lunches waiting, remember? She always makes you the best lunches. You better wake up, Higgs, or I'm gonna steal your fucking lunch.
Hey, we got a smile, Command. I'd like to report a smile here. I think he's alright, but all the same, tell the retrieval team to hustle up, yeah?
Copy.
Exploration
Ooh,
log
it's
2,
fucking-
4382. Date 2019, May 18th, 3:10 p.m. Holwick. Mobile Task Force Xi-5 Newton's Bullies.
Command is Xi-551. We've reached center of town. How's Higgs?
Copy, 5-1. 5-2 is responding well. We've got him on the same treatment regimen as the recovered civilians from last year. We're seeing a good response to rapid visual stimuli.
Thanks, Cobbs. Keep me posted. As for Holwick, I have to tell you, Command, this one's one of the freakier ones.
Please elaborate, 5-1.
Looks like they're setting up for celebration when the anomaly occurred. That means they've been decorating for the last 8 months non-stop. There's a woman ahead of me in a blue dress. She's climbing the ladder and tying off one end of the banner. Holwick Harvest Festival, it says. She climbs down, moves the ladder across the street. Just as she finishes tying the other side, the first knot unravels and the banner falls. She moves back across the street to string it up again, only for the other side to fall. She's repeated the pattern 18 times now, and it's the same everywhere I look.
Copy, 5-1. Remember, do not observe any single temporal loop for too long.
I don't think this is temporal, Command. I'm not seeing any sudden cuts or speed deviations, and Sanford is ticking on normally. Can't counter is nearly a hard 8, though. I honestly think this might just be a wildcat.
Without a deviant temporal frequency?
I'm telling you, we've got a stable tempo here. You almost wouldn't notice anything is wrong if everyone wasn't doing the same thing repeatedly. Something must be maintaining the HUI. Something powerful. I can't imagine what. Neither can I, Command, but I can guess where it is. Just did a quick 360, and yep, guess what? The POV is peaking when I aim towards 4382's radio center. How nice, we're heading to Point Alpha anyway.
Hey guys, I forgot a protracted loop here. You clocked it at 6 minutes.
Damn, that's a long one. Report to Soxa.
The kid on his bike, he's waddling a bit as he rides, probably because of that big fucking shoulder bag he's got. Riding along, then for a split second looks away from the sidewalk to readjust his bag. Just in time for a group of boys to round out of the alley. They collide. One of the boys is knocked to the ground, the kid falls off his bike. A bunch of like 6 sticks falls out of his bag. The boys help their friend up and start shouting at the bike kid. He scrambles to collect the books. One of the boys kicks the big red hardcover off of the sidewalk. It falls open, page on a sewer grate, and covered in wet clumps of leaves. The boys laughs and walk on. The kid is trying to dry the book off with his sleeve. He's crying, I think. I can't tell. I just don't want to get too close. He's wiping his nose a lot, at least. He gets back on his bike and wobbles a bit before taking off. I've seen this exact scene play out 3 times already. The kid seems to be cycling around the block, and the alleyway boys just keep going back. Cycle, collide, spill, kick, cry, over and over.
Thank you, 5-4. Please stop observing this loop.
I'm seeing similar patterns, Command. Short loops. The same man forgetting his coat in the hair salon, going back for it and walking out without it again. A trio of feral cats running between the legs of an old woman, making her stumble and drop a can of tomatoes from her grocery bags. A little girl skips by and helps her pick it up. Now cats run by again, she drops again, and yep, there's little girl. Command, I think the anomaly is causing closed loops. Causal loops, actually. People are getting trapped in a cycle of actions. It's I'd almost say it's mimetic, but, well, nobody has fallen over or starved. It's like the reality here is allowing for it until something stops. Like the squirrel. Yes, like the squirrel. Alright, let's group back up and head for Point Alpha.
45 seconds of radio silence as Task Force regroups.
5-4, are you with us, Lydia?
Oh, fine, Captain. Just thinking about that kid. What a fucking hell, huh? 8 months living that same awful moment again and again.
Yeah, not to him. To the civilians we recover from the outskirts remember looping Soxa. To that kid, it's just happening once.
Once is too many.
Task Force begins moving down again, heading to Point Alpha.
Hey, Soxa, you still thinking about the kid? You're awfully quiet.
No, I'm just... There were boys like that in my hometown too. Vicious little bastards. They always made fun of my hair.
Yeah, well, you're a bully now, right? MTF Xi5, hey!
5-4 does not respond.
Hey?
It's just knowing that it keeps happening over and over and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like when I was a kid, I'd get to homeroom, sit at my desk, and then while I was there pulling on my hair, you'd always do it so quick. The teachers never believed me. Every day I'd just wake up, go to class, and there's Baba pulling my hair. Every day I'd wake up, go to class. There.
Captain? Soxa, Lydia, goddammit, what is she watching? Nothing, we're just talking. Fuck. Command, copy, damn it. Lydia's looping. Hey, girl, look at me.
Xi3 begins clapping her hands loudly and at infrequent tempos.
Pulling my hair every day, just wake up.
Come on, Lil, snap out of it. You're not there anymore. You grew up. You're a badass science commando now. You're my squad mate, Lydia. Command, we need evac now.
Dispatch sent 5-1. It is going to take some time. We need you to keep moving. Point Alpha.
What? Command, we're not leaving her here.
The longer you're inside SCP-4382, the higher the risk we run, 5-3. Activate 5-4's beacon and move on.
Command, I have to protest.
That's an order, Captain.
5-1 and 5-3 go silent. 5-4 continues speaking.
Copy, Command.
Exploration log part 3, 4382. Date 2019, May 18th. Holwick, Newton's Bullies.
Psych, this is Xi5 reporting in. Please tell me this is the first time this hour.
We're receiving you, Captain. Don't worry, you aren't looping.
Thank God. We're approaching Point Alpha. It's getting harder to focus and the loops are shorter here.
Copy, and please elaborate.
Command, I've got eyes on one right now. Elderly woman. I can see her in the garden window. She's making soup, I think. She's just chopping the same carrot over and over again. Little, tight rows. Perfect straight cuts, the same carrot over and over. Little tight rows, perfectly straight cut, the same carrot over and over. 5-3, focus up. Hey, listen to me. Little rows, perfectly cut, the same carrot. Not again. Damn it, Chili. Come on, Banks, think. And after this, you're going on vacation, remember? Chili, the salt flats, the deserts after the rain. Over and over, the salt flats. The desert after the rain, like the one near the standing stairs. Captain? There you go. Good. Command, be advised. 5-3 is returning to base. Salt. What? Hey, no!
A muffled clattering sound is heard. 5-3 grabs 5-1 by the shoulders and shakes them.
Cap, you cannot be alone here alone. Command, it's 5-3. I'm fine. I repeat. I'm fine, and I'm repeating because I choose to. Disregard the last advisory. Damn it, Banks. Command, this is Captain Adamson, and I'm ordering 5-3 to base. Captain, what is going to happen if you're the one who goes loopy? Who's going to snap you out of it? Damn it, Banks. Damn it, Banks. I'm not looping you, idiot. I'm just pissed off at you. Jesus, you never listen to me. This is why we didn't...
Radio silence for 4 seconds.
Xi5, this is command. We're making the call. You move forward, and 5-3 is right. We need you in pairs.
Roger.
The sound of 5-1 and 5-3 walking through dry leaves is heard for 3 minutes.
Command, I think we're here. The can counter is in the red. Oh, I think it's gone past the red. It looks like an old farmhouse, except there's no farm out here. It's just an empty lot in a big house. Address is 13 Chadwick.
Checking the directory. Property belongs to Dennis and Margaret MacArthur. Nothing on file for either of them. Is the source inside the house?
Sounds of walking is briefly heard.
Negative, Command. Yeah, there's a slight drop off the house, actually. I'm looking at one of the windows at... Oh, Christ.
5-3?
Command? We've got 2 corpses here. They're just laid out in the living room. Lots of stab wounds. Oh, God. Command, scratch that. One of them is still alive, or... Fuck, maybe he just can't die? The man is trying to pull up towards the wall-mounted rotary phone to keep slipping back down the bloody wall over and... Command, the source seems to be coming from the backyard, backfield, I mean. We're proceeding there now. Captain Shindley, too risky. Anything we do would kill him anyway. It might be for the best. Point Alpha isn't our priority, Adam. Come on. 5-1 is heard walking.
After 2-second delay, Xi3 moves as well.
We've got a secondary structure here. Large sheet metal. It's partially collapsed and covered in rust. It looks like a big garage of some kind. It's a tractor garage. We had him head back home. See that big ass tire treads in the dirt? So the source is a tractor? Only one way to find out. Command, I'm going to open her up.
Confirmed. Be careful, 5-3.
Roger.
The sound of rusted metal grinding the axle is heard.
Whoa. Holy fucking shit.
Squad, report. What is it? What's inside the garage?
It's a machine, Command. I think it's like one of those spider web colonies that cover the whole trees. Just the wires and pipes and stuff. It's all scraping and pieces wrapped around the big metal stock. You know those globes they have in the Science Museum? Vandy whatevers? The ones that make your hair stand on end. It's like the one of those, except it's a glass. It has a glass sphere at the center with 5 metal balls inside. They're all rolling around each other over and over. Damn, this is huge, Command. It's nearly touching the ceiling.
Confirmed. Do you see a power supply? Do the cables running everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere. Hold on. Command, I've got something.
A power supply?
Negative. There's a small desk tucked into the corner. I see some diagrams, a few equations. It's all scribbles, but Command, I think this might be a journal. It's signed Seth MacArthur.
Checking. Confirm. The homeowners did have a son named Seth.
That might explain who this is. I followed the cables back around the back to the garage. There's a kid here, standing in front of a big transformer, maybe? He doesn't look much older than 16. He keeps pressing buttons over and over. Red, orange, white. Over and over. Red, orange, white. God damn it. The kid looks, I don't know, panicked. He's gritting his teeth and his forehead's all sweaty. I can't be sure, but I think maybe he's trying to shut it down. Or maybe he's keeping it running, Command.
What do you mean, 5-1?
I've been skimming through the journal. It's pretty clear the kid made this mess. January 5th, 2008. Nobody gets it. The world is wrong. Why can't they see? Why doesn't anyone listen to me? I'm the smartest kid in school. I skipped 4 grades. Even the teachers are stupid compared to me. Wow, seems like a nice kid.
5-1, does it say anything about the device?
Hold on, there's a lot here. It's mostly nonsense. I've read all the books, every physics textbook in the school library, and it's all wrong. I know it. It's like we've skipped a number. All our predictions and theories are based on faulty premise. I just know it. I don't know how, but when I look at these equations, I just know they're wrong. They're all wrong. It's all wrong. Jesus, kid, repeating yourself much? Here, I can build it. It's so simple. That's how I'll show them all. Perpetual motion is possible. You just need the right machine. I just don't get it. It's not about creating motion. It's about creating a place where you change the constant of the universe. Wait, what? Command, hang on. I think I might have something here. The kid keeps hitting the same 3 buttons. For a split second, he goes back to red. His finger moves just a fraction closer to the light switch here. I think it might be a sequence.
Negative 5-3, do not attempt to operate the device.
October 15, 2010. Oh shit, Command, I think this is it. I worked through the night, it's nearly finished. I had to take apart nearly everything in the house. Dad was furious. He and Mom confronted me this morning. They said I've been acting queer. They told me I need to stop skipping school. Dad knocked the microwave out of my hands. It was a moment I realized he'd never understand. Some minds are too small. Thankfully, I had a multi-tool with me and one more problem solved. Jesus Christ. Red, orange, white to the switch. Red, orange, white to the switch. Red, orange, white to the switch. Red. Command, I think this is the sequence. I shut the thing down.
Negative 5-3, you are not to touch anything. Do you copy, 5-3? Do you copy?
October 15, 2010, part 2. It's ready. The phone won't stop ringing in the house. I think my parents are supposed to help set up for that stupid festival. People must be wondering where they are. I need to hurry. None of it will matter soon. No one will care about 2 dead hicks when I have redefined science. I've run through the first cycle, and it looks like the loop is stable. No energy in, no energy out, no energy lost. It's perfect. The diodes are rolling over and over, over and over, over and over.
5-1? Damn it, Captain Abinson, do you copy? We're scrubbing the mission. Return to the evac point now.
Command, it's fine. I'm reading what he wrote. He just keeps writing those words over and over, over and over, over and over. Red, orange, white, switch. Red, orange, white, switch. Red, orange, white, switch.
Squad, get out of there.
Over and
5-1,
over.
5-3, wake up.
Over and over. Red, orange, white switch. Red, orange, white switch. Red, orange, white switch.
All audio is suddenly overtaken by loud, disjointed static. Outpost 4382 reports decreased visual distortions around the town perimeter. Task force audio levels out, but a high-pitched whine is now heard in the background, steadily growing louder.
Over and over, over and over. Something is wrong. The field is expanding. How can it be expanding? Red, orange. Hey, command, this is 5-3. It looks like, yep, the lights are starting to flicker. I think it's shut down. Even the kid seems to be waking up. Ha! We did it. Hey, kid, how the hell...
Wait, oh fuck. Wait, I need to...
Whoa, get back away from the panel.
A high-pitched noise grows extremely loud. The sound of 5-3 chambering around and her gun is heard.
Back away right now. Do not turn that fucking machine back on.
I'm not. You don't understand. I have to... Oh god, fuck. The whine becomes overpowering. Garbled, panicked noises are barely audible.
What? 5-1, do you copy? Adamson, Banks, do you copy?
The noise suddenly stops. Full radio silence for 6 seconds. Whew, okay, I think I got it. I just need to rebalance the... oh.
What is it?
I just figured out where all the energy goes. A large explosion is heard and the signal cuts. Addendum 190518. A helicopter flew over Holwick, shows a mushroom cloud originating from Point Alpha. No sound or shockwave was detected by Outpost 4382. Most of the MacArthur farm plot is enveloped. The cloud appears to be suspended in mid-combustion, fire continuously rolling beneath the upper cloud rim. Addendum 2019, June 3rd. The Holwick explosion is still going. Outpost 4382 reports the conflagration is animated, but the explosion itself is still static in shape and size. While SCP-4382 anomaly has stopped expanding, the bubble shows no signs of collapse. All testing and exploration of Holwick have been suspended until solution can be devised. Addendum 2019, August 19th. Outpost 4382, during an unanonymous sonar sweep of SCP-43 interior, has detected a repeating communication signal from Captain Wes Adamson. Xi-5 Captain Sasuke and Officer Hagayashi have filled an official request to mount an extraction mission. The Foundation is ruled out due to their proximity to the explosion and length of time within 4382. Both Wes Adamson and Anna Banks shall be declared killed in action. Xi-5's request has been denied. Addendum SCP-4382. Date, May 18th, 6:12 p.m. Holwick. Xi-5.
Banks, stay there.
The sound of an explosion is heard, ripping through 5-1.
Banks, stay there.
The sound of an explosion ripping through 5-1.
Banks, stay there.
The sound of an explosion ripping through 5-1.
Banks, stay there.
The sound of an explosion is heard ripping through 5-1.
Bit of a mess, really, all things considered.
Interesting.
I've got really no way to sort of describe that or quantify that other than shit's spooky, yo.
It's important to follow the directions of your on-site commander.
Oh, always.
Some of this could have been avoided if that happened.
Definitely some. I don't know, it's a tough one. Obviously, 5-3 was right in his, her theory that flicking the switch would in fact deactivate the machine, but obviously they weren't authorized to do so, and that I don't know if we can say that inevitably led to the explosion, given the fact that as with all sort of timey-wimey stuff, if that is the only way to shut off the machine and that is the outcome of it every single time, given it's an experimental device, then that explosion was always going to happen. But at the same time, as you said, you know, they might have been able to be snapped out of their loops and returned to the base without being exploded.
Yeah, and it wasn't a temporal loop, as someone in the audience has asked. No, it was more as if reality looped instead of just time. There was no break or shift. Same with mental loop. It wasn't just a mental loop. As one of our people in our audience have been affected by it, simply by being within light of it.
Perpetual energy. Interesting concept. Weird to think that it could lead to this. I hadn't really considered that myself, but there we go. I suppose not really my area of expertise, you know.
Yeah, I don't get involved with a lot of that kind of readings.
Yeah, time and stuff. It'll mess you up. It'll catch you out.
Spatial things is what I prefer.
You see, I deal with like weird brain stuff. I don't know. It's just the brain is such a weirdly specific thing, as it is. All it takes is one little thing to go slightly wrong, and then boom, something spooky. So weird brain stuff. That's where I go.
Most of the time when I do my work in the facilities, I have to go out to some of the more spatial ones and deal with those. The issue is half the time we get the temporal ones and we have to bring in other officers just to handle it.
Well, we've all got our area of expertise, as is tradition. Do you guys want to move on with 4 Nice 2?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna switch this one, that button again.
Draft did open my door. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Alright. SCP-4692, Level 5, and classified. Object Class, Euclid. Containment Procedures. Subject is temporarily housed in Site 1169's Annex. And connected to a ventilator. An IV is to be kept continually pushing a solution consisting of 91% SCP-4692-2 with a remaining mix of saline and 5% glucose. In the event that Site 1169's backup generator should fail or otherwise become inoperable, subject is to be immediately transported to any neighboring Foundation site with sufficient energy output to maintain the subject's medical equipment. Crews handling SCP-4692 should be, although are not required to be, part of a selected pool of individuals tested for the presence of SCP-4692-3. If an insufficient number of individuals fitting this requirement are available, volunteers are to be selected on the basis of country of origin, with preference given to those with no blood relatives who have lived in the United States of America within the past 75 years. An insufficient number of volunteers are available, Class D personnel may be assigned. The ventilator and IV system are not to be disconnected in a non-emergency without the approval from the site director Singh and at least 3 of the O5 Council. Personnel assigned to SCP-4692 are to be offered Foundation-side counseling services if needed. All personnel are strongly advised to self-report to their supervisors any trauma sustained as a result of handling SCP-4692, and are to be given priority consideration should they request transport transfer and or leave. Use of amnestics on personnel requesting transfer is to be refused at this time. In the event of a containment breach, crews assigned to Site 1169 must prioritize the reestablishment of power to the site and continue delivery of SCP-4692 to the subject via the IV solution. All site personnel and affected individuals must immediately proceed to the basement level 3 and engage the airlock to prevent the release of SCP-4692-3. Following recontainment, surviving personnel and individuals are to be decontaminated and hospitalized on site. The deceased are to be incinerated as soon as surviving individuals are removed from basement level 3. SCP-4692 remains semi-conscious and is known to appeal to on-site personnel pleading to be euthanized. Personnel who have been solicited in this way must report to each occurrence to the site supervisor. Addendum 1. Due to increased risk of extreme weather conditions as a result of climate change, SCP-4692 is scheduled to be relocated to a more climatically stable site. Possible sites for relocation include Site 19, Site 34, Site 442, Site 1081, and Site 6119. Description: SCP-4692 is an African American male, Jackson W. Parnell, originally of Fayetteville, New York. Recovered in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Mr. Parnell's birthday is recorded as unknown 1912, making him 170 years old as of unknown date in 2019. However, his physical appearance suggests that he is no older than 45 or 50. Mr. Parnell requires the use of medical ventilator and IV solution 90% of SCP-4692 with -2 with a remaining mix of 4% saline and 5% glucose in order to stay alive. As SCP-4692 is blood plasma from an unidentified individual of Southern or Eastern European descent, it is believed this individual is suspected responsible for Mr. Parnell's current state, as they were last seen exiting the apartment complex where Mr. Parnell was discovered. The composite sketch of the suspect is attached. Until the suspect is located and interrogated, attempts to replicate the anomalous qualities of SCP-4692 are to begin by December 1st, 2019. Should either ventilator or IV solution fail, Mr. Parnell will begin to convulse and enter a state of shock, at which point a containment breach will be declared. Within a period of 2 to 4 minutes, any individual who has been in the presence of Mr. Parnell will begin to suffer symptoms similar but not consistent with acute radiation sickness. After 8 to 15 minutes, the individual will undergo severe cellular degeneration and hydrolysis, leading to severe dehydration and death. Decedents will rapidly decompose, with muscle tissue rapidly liquefying and bone marrow desiccating. After 40 to 55 minutes, direct blood relatives of the affected people will begin to suffer the same effects regardless of physical location. Additional individuals will also have suffered ill effects, including recipients of blood transfusions and individuals with similar genetic structures who are otherwise not blood related. Affected decadents, release SCP-4692-3 on an aerosolized variant of SCP-4692-2, which is highly contagious and flourishes under high conditions of high humidity. The resuscitation of Mr. Parnell and reestablishment of his IV solution following recontainment will cease the effects of SCP-4692 and halt spread of SCP-4692-3. Individuals who have contracted SCP-4692-3 will remain permanently susceptible to SCP-4692 in the future, as well as their direct blood relatives. Physical damage and/or death sustained during containment breach is unaffected by recontainment. Addendum 2. Relocation of SCP-4692 to Site has been halted due to complications with Site administration. Staff on Site alleged that Site Director Laval resigned in protest of the proposed relocation. Site Director Laval has refuted these allegations, indicating Site was situated in a region prone to flooding and thus would be unsuitable for housing SCP-4692. Addendum 3. A complaint was filed by Site Director Singh against Site 18104 for allegedly dismantling equipment that could be used to maintain SCP-4692. Site Director Singh alleges that this was a response to an official request to transfer SCP-4692, while Site Director Holt of Site 18104 claims the equipment in question was due for dismantling for over 6 months prior to the transfer request. Discovery. SCP-4692 was discovered in the redacted apartment complex on redacted date of 2019. Surviving witness testimony indicates that Mr. Purnell was calling out for help and managed to attract the attention of a resident who subsequently broke into the apartment. It is believed that Mr. Purnell, due to his condition, persuaded the resident to terminate his life support system in order to euthanize him. The resident subsequently began to deteriorate and lost consciousness. Police reports taken in redacted city, Florida, Wisconsin, or redacted state, sorry. Florida, Wisconsin, and redacted parts of North Carolina indicate family members of this resident began to suffer similar symptoms of dizziness, vomiting, bleeding, and seizures accompanied by rapid necrosis and death. Confiscated police reports and 911 phone records indicate that these occurrences were largely simultaneous, and several officers began to report identical symptoms soon afterwards. Officers blank and blank additional individuals were hospitalized during this outbreak. A public health emergency declaration was made in all affected regions, and the FBI became involved. Some blank individuals perished during this event. SCP-4692 was resuscitated by a neighbor of Redacted, who discovered Mr. Purnell and reattached their IV solution and powered their ventilator. According to neighbor, Mr. Purnell appeared quite pale and cold to the touch, but continued to display signs of life and fully recovered once the IV and ventilator were reestablished. The neighbor died 4 days later due to injuries sustained during the outbreak. A sample of his statement is attached. Witness statement, redacted date in 2019. Officer Deglin is reviewing witness TP. Individual is unlikely to recover from injuries sustained on the incident of redacted date in 2019. Transcript highlights witness as statement beginning an initial encounter with Mr. Purnell.
I was coming down the stairs. People were calling out on the street for me, so I was coming down hard. I almost fell. I thought I'd broken something. Then I heard, groaning, like I'd woken the guy up.
The guy in the room you found?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was a guy in there first. I got up, and then I heard him talking. He started saying, help, I've been kidnapped. So I was like, what the fuck? Then he called out again, help, I'm trapped in this guy's apartment. Now, I ain't ever seen anyone going in or out of this room except for this one guy, but he left an hour earlier. I went to the door and could hear him on the other side calling out again, so I tried to open the door, but I can't.
You didn't think to call the cops at this point?
For real? and get arrested for trying to break into a white guy's apartment or some shit? No. I didn't even know if it was a real guy calling out to me. I wasn't about to do anything except this guy started calling out again. Started making banging noises and calling out my name. He knew my name. He'd been in the apartment for like a year and could hear people talking outside but couldn't get anybody to help him. So I tried to kick in the door and ended up busting my ass again. But the doorknob fell off so I could reach in and remove the chain that was on the other lock.
How many locks did it have?
One. I mean, the doorknob had its own lock, but the guy had another lock on top of it, and that chain lock too.
So, what happened inside the apartment then?
It was like, you walk in, and the guy was right ahead in the living room. He was laid out in a hospital-looking thing, and he had an oxygen mask on and a needle in his arm that was pumping something yellow into him. He didn't look sick, but he was barely moving. He was strapped down to the bed like he was being tortured or something. He got a hand out and was able to bang on the wall and pull up his mask so he could call for help, but his voice was weak and he couldn't breathe without it. It was lucky I heard him when I did. He was probably calling for help for days and no one heard him.
Did he say who was keeping him tied up?
Nah. I mean, he probably knew the guy's name, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time. The guy was like freaking out, excited I'd come to help him. I went over to him and he said to pull the needle out of him and untie him. I mean, it didn't look like the guy was getting real medical treatment. There was a plastic bag hanging from a plastic hanger full of yellow stuff. It looked like it could have been urine. I pulled the needle out quick, then helped undo the leather strap around his wrist. Guy started crying, thanking me, saying he wanted to die, but this other guy wouldn't let him.
When did the pain start?
I think like right away I knew something wasn't right. But it wasn't until I got the needle out of the guy and started untying him that like I felt like my insides are starting to get hot. I turned my head to cough like into my elbows so I wasn't coughing on the dude. Then I was coughing non-stop, and like each cough my head would hurt and I started stumbling back. I couldn't stop coughing and I started feeling like I had to throw up. Put my head back and threw up a little and had to swallow it down. Then my side started hurting really bad. Like here.
In your ribs?
It felt like something exploded in there and cracked my ribs. I kept gagging and choking, then I threw up again. I tried to swallow it down, like I don't want to be puking all over the floor, and then ended up slipping and busting my ass again. I thought it was a little bit, but then it started shooting out my nose. That freaked me out a little, so I stopped trying to hold it back and let it loose all over the floor.
Did it hurt?
Everything hurt. My stomach, my ribs, my throat, my nose, all of it hurt.
Was there any blood?
Not yet, not at first. I got back up to try and help the guy, but he was out. Like he was shaking and he was rocking like he was about to die or something. More vomit kept coming up, so I just left the room and I had no idea what was happening. Maybe the guy was like poisoned or giving off some kind of chemical that was making me sick.
Did you see anything in the air or smell anything? Where was the needle during this, and the plastic bag?
I didn't see anything and nothing smelled except the dude. He smelled like a homeless guy. Not that bad that I'd be throwing up though. The needle, I don't know. I didn't touch it. I just pulled out the tube to get it out. After a while, it started getting really sweaty and it was getting in my eyes and I couldn't wipe it away because I had puke all over my hands. I was like, I had to get outside. Something in the room was fucking with us.
How did you alert the others?
What others?
Your friends outside. They started screaming and called the police saying people were getting sick and vomiting everywhere.
I didn't call out to them. I got into the hall and my legs went. I didn't hear them snap, but they felt like they just broke into pieces and they hit my head on the wall and went out like a light. I didn't talk to anybody else.
This was around 4:20, you said? 4:20 p.m.?
Yeah, I remember because one of my friends was shouting like, "Yo, T, 4:20, bitch, get moving, 4:20." So I checked my phone and it was 4:20 right before I heard the guy's voice.
The guy calling for help?
Yeah.
The first 911 call came in at 4:24 p.m. You're saying no one heard or you or saw you?
I don't know how. The guy was beside a window, but the window was like that thick kind, like they got in that looks like ice and you can't really see through it. It was like that. Plus the lights were out, so I don't know how anyone could have seen anything. I don't know how they knew. Maybe someone came up and found me unconscious and called 911. What's your emergency?
Hello? We need help. We need ambulances now.
What's the problem? What's going...
We need ambulances. People are here sick or throwing up. We were standing outside and when my brother started throwing up and he collapsed, then all of his friends started throwing up.
You all started throwing up? Where are you?
Outside the building at... We've been poisoned or something. Someone's poisoning us. We're dying.
Okay, help is on the way. How many of there are you?
6.
Ma'am? Ma'am, are you still there?
Hello?
Ma'am. Sir, is the person I was speaking to still there?
Yeah, she's sick. She's bleeding. Everybody's here bleeding.
Okay, did you see anything, or was there someone who attacked you?
No, she's bleeding. Nobody did anything. We're all just chilling and suddenly we're all throwing up and bleeding and dying.
Okay, sir, I have medical help on the way. Just stay on the line and with me and tell me exactly what happened.
Nothing happened. We just got sick. We didn't...
Sir, what's happening now, sir?
And the caller disconnects. As a small addendum, proposals are being drawn up and discussions between the associated site directors is scheduled to take place at Site 19 on 4/20/2020. No, 6 of, what is that, September 2020? And then it was postponed again to the 20th of April 2021. You get the point. They keep moving it. And further discussions on the relocation of SCP-4692 have been postponed indefinitely. Bit of a weird one, this one. Not quite sure what's up with that.
I do see that they keep discussing things on the date of the 4th month and 20th day over the years, and
yeah, somehow 420 is definitely significant there.
And
I mean,
the other one, I don't normally indulge in internet memes, but seems to pop up a lot in these.
yeah.
So either somebody thought it was funny, or these are actually coincidentally the correct dates.
Yeah, I'm sure that it is just someone messing around with the file. We'll definitely track them down and give them a stern talking to, if you catch my drift. But it does seem to be strange that the time of 420 is also relevant. Not quite sure how, but hey, every little helps. Every little detail is potentially relevant.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just some strange things with that one that kind of... I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never know. So, yeah. Do you guys want to move on to item number 4971?
Let's go
Sure.
ahead.
Excellent. Let's do that then.
By order of the Overseer Council, the following file describes a hostile, anomalous entity capable of initializing a VK-class salted Earth end-of-human habitability scenario, and is level 4-4971 classified. Authorized access is forbidden.
So here we have item 4971, a level 4 secret item. Containment class is esoteric with the secondary class of Kernlenos. The description class is Eki, and the risk class is danger. So this is a very serious serious item we're dealing with here. It was assigned to Site USINBL Site 81 under the watch of Director J. Carlisle Actus, with research head William Decker, and is assigned to Task Force Alpha Charlie Bravo SA-9. Special Containment Procedures. The entirety of the Southwood Park Mall has been closed and all entrances have been barricaded. Armoured Command Battalion Site 09, or ACB SA-9, has established an encampment of the structure, which is Observational Site 81-3. In the event that any entity emerges from within SCP-4971 without the express authorization of Commander Lana Gray, ACB SA-9 is to attempt to contain the entity or, if infeasible, dispatch the entity with force. In the event that SCP-4971 Delta is to emerge from within SCP-4971, ACB SA-9 is to engage the entity with all available force. Until such time that alternative containment procedures can be developed for SCP-4971 Delta, the entity cannot be allowed under any circumstances to breach the entrance of SCP-4971. Per the 17.2.2019-4971 decision of the Foundation Classification Committee and the concurrent ruling by the Foundation Ethics Committee, SCP-4971 is to be classified as Colonelus until such time that adequate replacement procedures can be developed. As a footnote, from the Foundation Classification Committee Handbook on Esoteric Containment Classes, Revision 19/2019. In contrast to the Euclid and Keter classes, wherein containment procedures do exist for a potentially animate anomaly, entity, or artifact, and are within the ability of the Foundation or others to manifest, the Colonelus class exists to signify that while containment procedures are available for such an anomalous entity or artifact, specifically those containment procedures involving occult responses to ethereal, preternatural, or transmundane entities, the scope or requirements of those containment procedures are either outside of the Foundation's ability to manifest, or the procedures have been determined to have an unacceptable cost per a ruling by the Foundation Ethics Committee. Additionally, this classification contrasts with the uncontained Ticonderoga and Apollyon classes, as containment procedures do exist in some form, even if they cannot be properly utilized. Just so we're all on board with what those classes are. SCP-4971 is a space-time anomaly existing within the former Southwood Park Mall in Havensbrook, Indiana. The true location of SCP-4971 within the mall is uncertain and variable. Anyone who leaves the main concourse of the mall will invariably eventually find themselves within SCP-4971. The physical limits of SCP-4971 are currently unknown, but are expected to far outreach those of the Southwood Park Mall. The internal topography of SCP-4971 is that of a vast, mostly arboreal landscape under a nearly perpetually setting sun, which sets after 12 hours and returns to its setting position after 13. Much of the native flora bears a similar appearance to similar species found in the Yukon or Pacific Northwest, but genetic testing of samples taken from within SCP-4971 have been inconclusive. No specimens taken from SCP-4971 have contained any genetic material whatsoever. SCP-4971 contains several hostile anomalous entities. Many of these entities can be managed with the light arms fire, however, others are considerably more dangerous and must be approached only if absolutely necessary and with extreme caution. Due to the possible cognitive hazardous effects of many of these entities, it is unknown how their speech may interact with human cognitive function. SCP-4971 Delta is an entity found within SCP-4971. See Addendum 4971.8 for additional information. So, the discovery. Southwood Park Mall opened in 1985 and operated through 2006. In the spring of 2006, the last major anchor store within the mall, Eagle Pass Outfitting, liquidated the location's stock, citing poor attendance figures. The mall closed temporarily in June of that year, pending a buyout, but when the investor proposal fell through, the mall was left abandoned and closed to the public. The closing of the mall did little to dissuade local vagrants and trespassers who would frequently break in the mall to scavenge the empty shops. On one occasion, several local police received calls that teenagers who had entered the mall through a locked service door were performing satanic rituals within, but investigators were unable to ascertain proof of anything other than a break-in. On February the 12th, 2007, police responded to another report of a break-in, though eyewitnesses also described hearing screams and unnatural sounds coming from within the structure. The first officers to respond to the scene were unable to locate the trespassers, a large group of people, of whom some had been caught attempting to break into the mall at an earlier date. Extensive searching of the mall revealed SCP-4971, which was brought to the attention of containment teams at Site-81 by Foundation assets embedded in local authorities. During the initial investigation, a number of law enforcement officers were lost within SCP-4971. Scrambled audio transmissions revealed the officers in a state of panic and confusion before cutting out completely. Further attempts to communicate with the officers were unsuccessful. We now come to Addendum 4971.2, the internal memos. The following are the reports of Dr. Bill Decker, Site-81, detailing the circumstances leading to the discovery of SCP-4971. Okay, so I thought we had a Dr. Decker, no problem, I will continue. SCP Foundation Internal Memo, Site-81, Dr. William R. Decker. We have a lot of information coming in quickly, so I'm going to try and keep this brief. We've identified one of the missing teenagers as Katerina Randolph, a 19-year-old Caucasian female who disappeared from her grandparents' house in Maine, where she had been living since her parents died in 2004. Police suspected that Randolph didn't disappear as much as she did run off, because afterwards she started being seen mingling with a group of far-left naturalist pseudo-occultists, the Daughters of Eden, which is exactly what it sounds like. Juridic types that believe mankind has disrupted the natural order, trying to use magic and arcane practices to restore balance. They were involved in a number of protests in the Northeast, and Randolph was arrested at least 4 times. Why she was never taken back to Maine is beyond me. They've been on our radar for the last few years because one of the other members, a woman named Anna Christian, who now goes by the name Night Lily, was recently involved with a group of actual occultists out of the 3 Portlands. This Night Lily got her hands on some artifacts recovered from the old Miskatonic University in Massachusetts and has been using them in minor summoning rituals for the last decade or so. One in particular that concerned our occult research teams was the Last Appeal of Beefy. Last time it cropped up was when part of the document was used to summon a minor planar entity during the Northern Awakening event in the 80s. Talk to the oldest American task force agent you know, they'll be able to tell you about it. The short story is that it's supposedly a text written by a puritanical minister who was writing down the last words spoken by a witch named Beefy during a torturous exorcism that involved burning her alive. The occultists believed that the words she spoke were an old native chant that would summon nature spirits to drive away European colonials. There used to be 6 of these manuscripts. 3 were burned by other Puritans, 1 was lost at sea in the 1870s, 1 was bought by Oswald Carter, who then burned it, and this one sat on Hitler's bedside table until the Allies entered Berlin. Eventually it's found its way to the Miskatonic University, and then into the hands of the occultists when the place burned down. All this to say, we raided the Daughters of Eden a few months ago and recovered Anna Christian and the rest of them in the raid. Who we didn't find was Katerina Randolph, and we also didn't recover the manuscript. Fast forward to Monday when Katerina Randolph is identified in surveillance footage breaking into Southwood Park Mall with a new group of devotees and the Last Appeal of Biffy in hand. Next thing you know, they're all gone and the inside of the mall is a fucking arcane forest. It's no coincidence. There are a lot of smaller incantations in there, like the ones used to summon lesser entities and others to cause inclement weather, changes in temperature, it's minor things. The big ritual, though, is problematic. There is an entity described in some occult texts that reference the Last Appeal, whose name translates to something like, the one who knows silence in the earth. Our functional knowledge about this entity is extremely limited, but suffice to say that it's the last entity named in the Last Appeal. the entity that Beefy called out for when they were driving flaming pokers into her eyes. The actual last appeal. We need to go into SCP-4971 as soon as possible and ascertain what we're dealing with here. SCP Foundation Internal Memo, Site 81, Dr. William R. Decker. One more thing I forgot to mention in my first report, and the reason why I'm going to request a stay of classification, so this doesn't just get classified as Euclid and we can pretend it's just something. The reason we know so much about the last appeal of Beefy is that we have part of it. When it became clear that Miskatonic had the last copy of the manuscript, the Dean of Anthropology, Dr. Damon Wells, split the manuscript up and gave the back half of it to us for safekeeping. When he did this, he assured us that the texts back up the existence of this entity that the witch Beefy was appealing to, the one who knows silence in the earth, and that the only reason she didn't summon the creature on the spot is that the ritual involves a pretty copious amount of human sacrifice. If I had to guess, I'd say that's the fate of all the other people who went into the Southwood Moor with Katerina Randolph. Fortunately, the back half of the manuscript is a sort of inverse incantation that will seal the door to this other world shut in the event that it's opened in the first place. The full incantation acts sort of like a question. You open this gate, and then you ask the gate to remain open or close. Unfortunately, there's a human cost requirement here as well. Beefy, it scales logarithmically. Beefy probably wasn't a mathematician, but the folks at Miskatonic did the calculations. Something like a life every hour, then double after every hour after, and so on and so on and so on. On the plus side, it has an upper limit. So the good news is that a ritual to contain SCP-4971 Delta exists. The bad news is that we reached the upper limit about 4 hours ago. And the upper limit is, and I quote, every human heart that has not yet known silence. That's where we're at. We can contain SCP-4971 so long as we're alright with the ritual sacrifice of every living human on the planet. It goes without saying that we're going to continue to work on this one. We come to Addendum 4971.3, the Ethics Committee Joint Ruling on SCP-4971. I'm going to take a quick drink.
In determining the matter of SCP-4971, it is present to assess that what it is and naturally knowable. While the Foundation has a long and storied history of interactions with the arcane and occult, that history is fraught in misformation and falsehoods, both regarding the nature of the arcane as we understand it, and also the intentions of those who claim to interact with it. It is no secret that there is true, inexplicable power in this world. Whether that power is claimed to be derived from otherworldly, extra-dimensional, or otherwise distant sources makes no difference in deciding the seriousness of which it should all be considered. For every arcane interaction, two questions must be asked. Is this power able to affect the world in a meaningful way, and does this power have controls or limits? The first question's affirmation necessitates a response to the second of the Foundation's behalf. In order to maintain the statutes of normalcy as determined by the Overseer Council, sufficiently influential arcane power must be met with any and all appropriate measures to contain that power. However, in the case of SCP-4971, we have determined that the containment procedures provided by our Occult Research Division are either insufficient to contain SCP-4971 Delta, should it reveal itself, or unacceptable in maintaining normalcy in sufficiently ethical manner. The nature of that available procedures necessitates a loss of human life that is not currently acceptable given the current conditions of the anomaly. In short, the committee cannot accept the containment procedures as provided by the Occult Research Division and will submit this ruling to the Classification Committee for their review. Dr. Jeremiah Simriarian, Foundation Ethics Committee Head. Vote to accept SCP-4971 containment procedures proposal. Votes for, non-existent. Votes against, J. Samirian, H. Arnold, L. Kim, and J. Jackson, E. Wilder, P. Van Prince, and K. Kingsley. Motion is lost.
The ruling of the Ethics Committee creates a unique scenario when classifying SCP-4971, as determined by the Occult Research Division. There are excellent containment procedures which would sufficiently contain SCP-4971 permanently. However, the Ethics Committee ruling precludes our ability to enact those containment procedures. After consultation with the Occult Research Division, it has also been determined that there are no secondary procedures available that will sufficiently contain SCP-4971. As a result, we have decided to circumvent this dilemma with the establishment of the Kernonus class Esoteric Containment Classification. The full requirements of this classification will be available in the next revision of the Classification Handbook, but in short, the class will exist as a stopgap between entities that have functional containment procedures available that, due to the nature of those containment procedures, prevent the Foundation from carrying them out. The focus of SCP-4971's ongoing containment will be mitigation, research, and an effort to devise alternate containment procedures given the information available in order to move SCP-4971 out of an esoteric containment class and into a stable containment class, such as the proposed Archon class. Director J. Carlisle Actus. Vote to establish Kernonus class. Votes for J. Actus, S. Alexander, C. Ivester, A. Deckard, B. Humphrey, J. R. Snedden, M. Prince, M. Bridges, J. Sidney. Votes against T. Paxton and A. Desai. Motion carries. Vote to promote SCP-4971 to the Kernonus class. Votes for J. Actus, S. Alexander, C. Ivester, A. Deckard, B. Humphrey, J. R. Snedden, M. Prince, M. Bridges, J. Sidney, T. Paxton. Votes against A. Desai. Motion carries. So, we now come to Addendum 4971.4, the Daughters of Eden Manifesto excerpt. The following is an excerpt of a document recovered during a raid on the former living quarters of Katerina Randolph, which have been the de facto gathering location for the Daughters of Eden occultist group. Daughters, we daughters of Gaia, we daughters of Eden, we have persisted throughout these many millennia bound to the subservience of fell will. Our tears have been used to water the fields of industry, and our wombs have been robbed from us to perpetuate the patriarchal abomination that has taken this bountiful world, this great blessing that Mother Gaia offered to us without cost, and turned it into fuel for the engines of war, of bloodshed, and of slavery. We have been used like cattle to breed new generations of the same machinations that have upturned field and forest and buried the wretched poor beneath the concrete foundations of the new world. It is no new world of mine. It is no new world of ours. We reject it. Gaia cries out for reprieve, and in her own voice we will answer. The sword of her deliverance has passed into our hands, and we will wield it without fear, without hesitation, and with such terrible prejudice that this world will be washed clean of the sins of our fathers and sons, and all those who have turned the grinding gears of disorder. We will cast aside the barricade that has for so long kept this deliverance at bay. We will welcome Gaia's champion back into our world, and we will bask in the glow of the righteous torment it will bring down upon the souls who have scarred our mother's face. We will make the world new. We will make the world clean. Rise, sisters. Rise, daughters. Your hearts belong to Gaia. We now come to Addendum 4971.5, the initial site exploration. The following is the audio-video transcript of the initial exploration attempt into SCP-4971. Mobile Task Force Epsilon 13 was assigned to SCP-4971 and inserted roughly 51 hours after initial discovery of the... So this is a secure document. So we have E13 Eclipse, the team lead, E13 Roman on the fire team, E13 Mercury, also of the fire team, E13 Atlantis of Occult Science and the fire team, E13 Bangkok of Occult Science and the fire team, and E13 Nine Eyes of Communications.
Mike's hot.
Check.
Oh, check.
Rantis, go again.
Jackaroo.
That's better.
Check, check.
We're all good here.
Sounds good, let's move.
The team approaches the front door of the Southwood Park Mall. The on-site fire team stands by to insert.
Are you ready?
Affirmative.
Pulling the hatch.
How's the activity been?
Light today. Handful of signals early this morning, but nothing since. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Who needs luck?
Lamps on. Alright, let's
Members
move.
activate shoulder-mounted lights. The interior of the mall is without power, though some light enters through a large overhead skylight. Due to overcast weather, this light is minimal.
Alright, let's move.
Team enters the mall's main lobby. There are signs of looting and rampant vandalism, and much of the interior is in various states of disarray.
You feel that?
It's weird. It smells strange.
Yes, it does. The air in here is breathable, but it's not pleasant. Don't hesitate to hit your oxygen if you begin feeling anything.
The team proceeds down the nearest hallway, passing several small stores. They reach a larger area that was previously spanned by a large glass skywalk, which has collapsed onto the floor. The vandals didn't do that.
They definitely didn't, no. I imagine that we probably caused that same things they're keeping in with that big slab or the front door weep.
Check. Disturbances? 10 o'clock. 3 figures. Back behind the clothing rack.
Eclipse moves forward towards the front of the clothing store. Just inside the door, a humanoid figure bound in thick grey webbing is visible, their features covered. The
I'm
figure
moving.
is not moving.
Are they moving?
No, just watching.
I don't see anything on thermal. I don't think you're going to. Let's keep moving. Watch those figures, 9, see if they follow us.
Roger. What about that thing on the floor back there?
Long gone. Whatever those things were, they brought him out to eat. Now I gotta eat.
The team continues into an adjoining hallway. The distant sound of rushing water becomes more and more audible as they continue down the hallway, which now has far exceeded the external dimensions of the Southwood Park Mall. Look, there, that store. What language is the sign written in?
It's it's not.
Yeah, sounds about right. It's going to be up near that.
The team advances towards the atrium. What's that?
That's strange.
The team enters the atrium. However, upon passing through the end of the hallway, the ceiling ends, and the team is standing outside of a large overgrown structure resembling the Southwood Park Mall in open air. They are standing at the top of a cliff overlooking a vast forest that extends out as far as they can see in every direction, broken up only by the occasional large plateau or, in the far distance, a range of mountains of indeterminable height. The sun is low in the sky, as if in twilight. Several meters outside of the mall's exit into SCP-4971 is a large symbol dug out of the earth. The symbol is composed of concentric rings surrounding a series of triangles and rings within. A thick, red fluid, later determined to be human blood, fills in the dugout trenches that form the symbol. At the center of the symbol is blackened earth and the remains of a fire, beneath which lie the charred remains of an indeterminate hoofed animal. Several small glass vials are shattered on the ground nearby. Sitting in front of the symbol on the ground is a makeshift wooden altar. Resting on it is a lantern and a large bloody machete. Several blood-soaked sponges lay on the ground nearby. A leather-bound book lays open.
What's strange about it?
That's summoning circle for the entity described in the appeal. But there's a pretty significant human life requirement to do the thing that the book describes, and I would have expected to see something. Obviously, that's a lot of blood, but there would be bodies, you know?
How many bodies?
Well, it's not really an exact science. It's not the lives, especially. It's the way of their hearts. So There were 61 people who entered the mall the other night and 4 cops who went missing afterward. Average weight of heart is 310 grams, so yeah, that would do it. That still doesn't explain where the bodies are. Sun looks like it's on its way down. Don't know how much daylight we'll have, and we might as well see if we can get down there. Seems like that's the only way to go.
Team descends down a winding path across the cliff face and over the course of 1 hour and 56 minutes. Hey, you notice what's going on with the sky? What's that?
Nothing. The sun hasn't moved since we got here.
Exactly. It's in the exact same position, right there on the horizon.
That's spooky.
We're nearly there now. Look.
The team finishes their descent and stand in a small clearing in front of the forest. What now?
Reconnaissance. Command wants to bring a heavy fire team in here soon, but we need to get eyes on our target before we do that. They want to bring a fire team in here? Why? Beats me. Something must have spooked them. What? It's just that the text isn't clear on what our target is. The manuscript is mostly comprised of curses and threats, but the author doesn't describe where these threats are coming from. If it wasn't for the thing back in 84 or this anomaly right now, it would be easy to write off this entire document as just ravings. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. Maybe we'll know it when we see it. Who knows? How's our connection looking, 9?
Decent. You want to patch into command?
Yeah.
Alright, 1 moment. You're good.
Command, dispatch. This is E13 Eclipse, over.
We read you, Eclipse. What is your position? Over.
We've entered the anomaly proper, some sort of arcane forest. Trees are bigger, greens are greener, that sort of thing. The saturation has been turned way up in here. Solitary solar body hasn't moved off the horizon since we've got in here 2 hours ago. Descended a pretty considerable cliff, now we're down level with the forest, over.
1 moment, Eclipse. Over. Research wants to know if you've located the manuscript. Over.
Yep, we sure did. Big arcane symbol dug out of the ground too, filled with human blood, a lot of it. Not bodies though, and we haven't found the person of interest either. Over.
Copy that, Eclipse. Research wants to make sure that...
Yeah, we're going to bring the book back. Do you want us to just camp out here until the heavy team gets in, or you need to scope anything out? Over.
1 moment, Eclipse. We're receiving your telemetry now. Over. Short-range scans indicate a water source nearby, likely a river or stream in between a range of hills, roughly 8.5 clicks north from your position. You should be able to travel overland to reach it. Command would like to hold that position until the heavy team arrives. Over.
Understood. We'll update upon arrival. Over. Looks like we're heading that way.
A real trek through the forest, huh? A real nature trek. Yeah, I wouldn't get too excited. Something about this nature is triggering one of my lizard brain impulses.
Might be blatant EM static.
What?
Something in here is creating a lot of EM noise. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. If it gets much worse, it might mess with any of our equipment that isn't shielded.
Can you manage it?
Yeah, I think so. We just might not have as much time in here as we'd prefer.
Copy that. Let's roll.
Team advances into the forest towards the forward point established by the command group. 1 hour and 50 minutes of extraneous dialogue has been removed.
We're being watched.
Are you sure?
I am to the east. It's been trailing us for a while.
What is it?
I don't know. I can't make it out. Whatever it is, there's more than one.
How many?
5 or 6.
23 minutes of extraneous dialogue have been removed. Hey, do you hear that? There.
Yes. Sounds like chattering. An animal?
No animal I've ever heard.
Where are our followers?
They've either dispersed or they're hanging further back. They're not close. Look out for Look alive. Up ahead.
The team moves into a defensive position. Nothing on thermal.
Anyone have eyes on it? Yeah, I don't know what it is. What do you mean? It looks like an animal, but there's something wrong with its head. It's messing with my oculars. Hang on. It's gone. Did you catch it on your camera? I did, I think so. There was some trippy light or something around its head. Yeah, it's gone. Somewhere in the dark. Let's hurry. I think it's actually starting to get dark.
The team continues forward through the forest. E13 Nine Eyes auditory sensor picks up several unknown sounds, but for some reason the agent does not relay this to the rest of the group. As the sun sets, the group emerges onto a steep hillside.
What's our telemetry look like?
Let's see. I think we're where we need to be. There's another ridge over that way that might be a little higher up, but that's about a half a mile of woods between there and here.
It's already dark enough. See that river down there?
Yeah.
You guys go down there and grab some samples of that water. Don't drink it. We have reserves. I just want to see what it is first. Copy that.
Bangkok and Atlantis move down the north side of the slope towards the river below. Fuck me, it's dark.
Do we know when our relief is going to be here?
No clue. Hopefully soon. How's the radio look? Can we still get in touch with topside?
Let me give it a shot. Command, this is Nine Eyes Local. Do you copy? Command, this is Nine Eyes Local. Do you copy? Great. Just the M static. When it gets lit again, I'll get the range extender up, set up and reestablish contact.
Sounds good. Let's set up here. We'll move again in the morning.
Hey, do you guys feel like all of the recorders cut out in unison? We come to addendum 4971.6, the Occult Research Analysis Summary of SCP-4971 and the related documents. SCP Foundation Internal Document, Department of Occult Research, Dr. Eamon Anders. A foreword. Attached is our report detailing the occult characteristics of the SCP-4971 anomaly. SCP-491 is, in short, a delineated, affixed, unshrouded space-time abnormality existing within the Southwood Park Mall. This anomaly is consistent with other anomalies of its type. It has specific boundaries, is unmoving, and is not somehow concealed by itself or other space-time anomalies, such as those identified as ways or passages. However, SCP-4971 is distinct in several ways. Specifically, it is far and away the largest such anomaly ever documented, with an estimated interior volume of over 400,000 cubic meters, not including the extraspatial area on the other side of the anomaly. Like many such anomalies, SCP-4971 is believed to be maintained by an external energy source. Due to the arcane rituals involved in the creation of SCP-4971, it is likely that this source, unlike others like it, is a being of considerable power. The primary text associated with SCP-4971, The Last Appeal of Biffy, details a desperate cry for the annihilation of one's aggressors. The text does not name this annihilative force specifically, but does describe the characteristics of it. These characteristics paint a picture of a force or entity that bears some likeness to this world, and will aim to remake it in a way that rids it of unnatural conquest. This entity or force is also associated with the symbol, one that Biffy is described as carving into her own chest as she died, a series of circles and triangles called the Voxen Eye. This Voxen Eye is found elsewhere, in documents recovered from ancient Druidic ruins in southern Britain. These documents, many of which were burned during the Roman conquest of the island, describe the eye as a sort of a focus, a lens through which power can be channeled to move nature into action. This was described as calling upon Gaia, and a small crystal and metal versions of the Voxen Eye have been found in ancient caches of pre-Roman artifacts, likely from when they were used in pagan ceremonies. The last text that describes the Voxen Eye is in another recovered from the Miskatonic University called Porter's Writings on Arcane Beasts. The text describes a number of creatures supposedly encountered by the Victorian-age cryptozoologist Edward Porter, and includes references to several other SCPs, including 966 and 1013. In this text, the author writes, "It is no surprise, then, that those ancient people feared the trees more than anything else, as the trees brought them great bounty and great terror. At night they would be stalked by wolves and great cats, and on the nights of the full moon they would make sacrifices to the true god of those tall trees. They named him the one who knows silence in the earth. And it is said that through the frosted forests of the north he would emerge to take payment in human hearts for the protection of the tribe. It was said that this being could not be gazed upon directly for fear of death, and that only through a Voxen eye could its magnificence be understood." While the true nature of this entity continues to elude us, more information becomes available every day. The North American occult tradition, which traces its ancestry back to early Native and colonial American druids and witches, is apparently keenly familiar with this entity. My own contacts in many of these circles describe the name of this entity as something of a taboo, in line which should not be idly crossed. The account of Beefy is regarded as a tragedy, but her utterance of the curses that codified the incantation required to gather this entity's attention is considered to have been dangerous and foolish. Some have even argued that Beefy was mistaken and was attempting to contact the wrong entity entirely. Regardless, it changes nothing. Even in the face of impending death, one's own demise is not considered distant enough from this entity to escape whatever fate lies beyond that meeting. We come now to Addendum 4971.7, the Site Exploration. The following is a transcript of audio-video logs gathered by members of Mobile Task Force Iota 44, aka the Gangbusters, who were inserted into SCP-4971 18 hours after the Ethernet team to join them in setting up a forward position. Secure document, audio-visual transcript. We have I-44 Horizon, the team lead. Vestige of Heavy Fire, Kato of Heavy Fire, Carrier of Heavy Fire, Ashen of Heavy Fire, Aleppo on comms. We're into the anomaly proper. Do you copy us? Over.
We hear you, Horizon. We've lost radio contact with E13 team, but their personnel locators are still active and transmitting. They were setting up forward positions on a nearby ridge. We need you to head there. Interference is causing broadcasting issues, so if you lose contact with us, you'll need to set up your long-range transmitter.
Sounds good. We're rolling. The I-44 team descends the cliff face down to the forest floor below. The team advances into the forest with little effort. The sun has returned to its setting position. It's quiet. I was just thinking the same thing. It's eerie. Horizon, I'm picking up something. What is it? It's faint. I think it's someone singing. It's broadcasting over our comms frequency. Push it. All members of the I-44 team stop as Aleppo pushes the incoming signals to all headsets.
Watch your soul. How can I love her, yes. Would give my heart gladly, but each. What the hell is that? Hang on, something's coming. There, in the woods, look.
Here too.
Form up, get over here. Come on, move! The team moves quickly forward. The sounds of foliage being disrupted become evident as many figures move through the darkness of the forest.
Young and lovely, the girl from Idaho, walking when she passes, smile, but she doesn't see. What the fuck is that? Up there, look in the sky.
Something above the team illuminates the area briefly, but none of the personnel cameras capture it before it disappears. The team stops suddenly as Horizon holds them back. There, up ahead. Look. A humanoid figure stands beneath a tree, its features mostly hidden in darkness. It is lean, with auburn skin, and a mess of tree branches, leaves, and vines bound around its neck like a collar. It is otherwise nude. The entity does not have a head. Instead, it has a glowing white symbol that vibrates rapidly. As soon as this symbol comes on screen, all video recorders begin to show signs of heavy distortion. Command, do you copy? We've got a situation down here. We've encountered a local. How would you like us to proceed? Over? No response, just that same singing. We're jammed. God damn it. Alright, everybody, form up on me. Hello? Do you understand me? Do you know what I'm saying? The entity shudders slightly and its shoulders roll back. A moment later, it disappears, reappearing closer to the group. It does this several times very quickly, each time getting closer to the group. As it approaches, it becomes obvious the entity is levitating off of the ground. Fuck. Horizon fires on the entity, as do other members of the group. As the entity is struck by gunfire, the point where bullets enter its body illuminate briefly with white light. The entity staggers backwards against a tree, and as it collapses onto the ground, there is the sound of a high-pitched scream, followed by breaking glass, and the glowing white symbol above the entity's shoulders shatters and disappears.
Holy fuck, what was that?
Sensors are picking up more figures moving this way.
Everybody form the fuck up. God damn it! Oh, something just screamed over the wideband. Oh no. All around the team appears many glowing white symbols. Soft chattering is heard through the otherwise silent forest. From behind them they hear rustling. Turning towards the sound, they see the figure of the entity who was shot by Horizon shaking violently on the ground. After a moment, the entity falls still again, and then rises as if lifted by the shoulders to levitate above the ground once again. Another sound is heard, later determined to be the same breaking glass and scream as before, only in reverse. As the sound ends, the glowing white symbol appears again, and the entity begins moving towards the group. Run! The group flees the mass of humanoid entities, which trail closely behind them. I-44 Kato trips and falls to the ground as he is swarmed by the entities. Shortly afterwards, his camera and personnel locator cease functioning. Gunshots are heard as an entity grapples briefly with I-44 Ashen. The agent is seen briefly by I-44 Wild as the former has an arm pulled off by one of the humanoid entities and disappeared. His camera and personnel locator also cease functioning. As the remaining members continue to sprint forward, I-44 Aleppo's transponder begins to ping.
Anyone hear us? Hello? Can you hear us?
Horizon, E13 on comms. E13, this is I-44 lead. Do you copy? We're being aggressed by a group of hostiles. Need assistance, over.
Holy shit, you can't hear us. Okay, head for open air. They can't get higher.
We need to get out. Hurry.
I see. Rise up ahead, 30 degrees north.
The team sprint towards an opening in the tree line. As they run, more and more entities become evident all around them. As they close in quickly and the sound of chattering becomes increasingly louder and the ground beneath them shakes suddenly. Wild is knocked sideways and stumbles, falling slightly behind the group. I-44 Aleppo, Vestige and Carrier break through the tree line and onto the rise. Horizon hangs back as Wild runs forwards, but she is seized from behind. Horizon levels his rifle and fires at the entities, attacking Wild, but there are too many. Wild's data has been expunged. I-44 Horizon shoots and kills I-44 Wild before turning and running the rest of the way out into the clearing. When he turns back, all hostile entities are gone, as is the body of I-44 Wild. God damn it, god damn it, god damn it!
I-44 lead, do you copy? Over. Do you copy? Over.
This is I-44 lead. A copy. Over.
Sit rep.
We're down 3. Those things in the woods, there were too many of them. What are those things? Over.
We don't know. We're prepped for that. We lost Bangkok to those things on our way up. Atlantis thinks they're... Shit, how do you describe it? They're like fragments, pieces of people that got lost in here whenever they were doing the rituals needed to get in here.
We can't fucking kill them, man. I blanked one and it got right back up.
Yeah, we think they're drawing power from somewhere else. Anytime one of them does that, there's a lot of EM static when they get back up. Wherever the source of that static is, it's pretty strong. It's blocking our wideband radio, and that thing is nothing to fuck with.
Where are you? We're in a, it looks like a clearing on a hill. We need to consolidate.
Do you see the river somewhere to the northwest of you?
Yeah, I do.
Here, about a week ago, we headed northeast from the river towards the mountains. We're nearly...
What? Check Eclipse. How long did you say you were here?
About a week, we think. The days don't line up, but we've got clocks, and, why?
We entered the anomaly less than a day after you, and we've only been here for 6 hours, maybe?
Yeah, that's not Great Horizon.
No, it's not. I-44 team loses radio contact with E-13 team, which continues recording.
Horizon, do you copy? Horizon, do you copy?
Lots of something moving down the south. Really getting a lot of... Oh, all radios cut out entirely. From the E-13 position, a loud, low droning sound is heard as if from a great distance. I-44 Aleppo's video transmitter broadcasts for 12 seconds, recording a single still frame before the remainder of the video is washed out. We now come to addendum 4971.8, the interview with Anna Christian. Oh, pardon me. The following is the transcript of an interview that was conducted with Anna Christian, person of interest 4971.02, who was apprehended 3 months before the discovery of SCP-4971. This interview was conducted shortly after the loss of contact with the I-44 team.
Did you read your messages?
I did not. I was just wondering that exact thing. Give me a sec.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that works with me. That's what I was going to suggest anyway. Right, so we need to know what you know about the last appeal of Biffy.
Why? What does cooperating with you fuckfaces do to help me now? Once this is done, you're just gonna wheel me back to my cell and let me rot until you hallway again.
We're willing to discuss your release if you're willing to cooperate. We just need information.
What do you want to know?
What is the world beyond the anomaly? What is that place?
Oh, you've opened it.
Not us. Katarina Randolph opened it.
She's a fucking idiot. I warned her about this. I warned her over and over, and god damn it.
Warned her about what?
Okay, so I'm a witch, right? Like, not like the sit on a broom and stir a pot witch, but like, ever since I was girl, it's like I could see more than other people. I could talk to animals and heard the trees whispering, and darker things too, older things. When I found out there were others like me, I was elated, to have other people who I could talk to. I was so enamored in the mystery of it all, the secret meetings, the old languages, and the things they warn us about, the rituals.
Like the ones in the last appeal?
Yeah, the ritualers were I was most fascinated with. You mix blood with ash and the gratings of cloven hoof, and you can bring in nature to bear. Poison water, turn crops to rot. But that's real power. It's not power you own, but power you wield nonetheless. That book contains power, but not the kind that Katarina hoped it was.
How do you mean?
Katarina and her followers are eco-terrorists who masquerade as a coven. They don't understand cost and sacrifice. They're just out to save the trees. I believed her, and I taught her things, how to turn steel to rust in an instant, and to ruin the threads of a bulldozer, how to turn the land to mud and bring locusts to run off developers. It was never enough for her, though. She wanted bigger and more powerful. She would say, "We won't be finished until we can wipe the bile of man off Gaia's face." When I got my hands on the last appeal, I was just a kid like her. I thought I knew everything, but I had wise elders who taught me patience. In that patience, I learned everything I could learn about the appeal. The things described in it. I learned that it was not what I thought it was. I learned I had been wrong.
What did you think it was?
a nature god and appealed to Gaia. We all did, and Katerina did too. She didn't believe me. I assumed I was holding information from her because I was scared. I was scared, but not because I was worried she would bring forth Gaia's champion. I was worried because the one who knows silence in the earth isn't a nature god at all. It's a god of sacrifice. The world it resides in, the creatures that inhabit that place, they're all byproducts of sacrifices and rituals. They're sustained by them. The souls of humans, of plants and animals, things far away and things very close. It takes those souls and turns them into new life in its own image. It will remake this world, but the world it will create will not be a world mankind can survive in. It'd be like replacing the rivers and lakes with battery acid.
How do we close the gate?
You can't. Not that she cared about that. She was obsessed. She wanted to remake the world for Gaia. The cost is too high.
How do we kill the creature within it?
Kill it? How do you kill a god? You can't kill it. Not with all the bombs and bullets in the universe. It's just stained by rituals, not just rituals involving goats and blood and the full moon. Smaller rituals, smaller sacrifices made by everyday people, so that even those that your foundation performs to keep the dark things hidden away. That's how you kill it. You stop performing rituals, you stop making sacrifices, and the one who knows silence in the earth will disappear, just like that.
You know we can't do that.
Then you can't kill it. That's it. You can't kill it. And you'd better pray to whatever gods are still listening that it doesn't find that gateway. Because the moment it gets out here is the moment it starts performing its own rituals. And it won't be satisfied by hooves and ash.
We come now to Addendum 4971.9, which is SCP 4971 Delta. The following is an audio-video transcript of the recordings collected by Mobile Task Force Epsilon 13, Manifest Destiny. Here we have Eclipse, the team lead, Roman of the fire team, Mercury of the fire team, and Nine Eyes of communications. The camera activates, facing Eclipse. He is clearly worn and emaciated.
This Eclipse, transmitting for anyone who can hear us. We've been in here for 2 months now, and rations have all about run out. Can't eat anything in here. It burns your mouth, even the plants. Water is drinkable, but I think it's making us sick. My eyesight is starting to go, and we lost Atlantis. So that's where we're at now. We're up in the mountains, and we found a place we can cross, and we're going to go there. We can see everything from up here if you look.
The camera pauses to pan over the forest, which extends out in every direction.
Oh yeah, out there. It's just a forest as far as we can see. Sun is still setting. Sometimes it gets dark. We'll see lights sometimes over the mountains, which is why we're going there. So that's where we're at.
The camera goes dark as Eclipse reconnects it to his helmet.
Let's go. Let's get up there. Come on.
The remaining members of the E13 team move up the sheer mountain face. It is clear now that they were resting on a narrow outcropping. It's unclear how they were able to climb at such a steep angle without climbing equipment. After a short time, they reach a larger outcropping. From where they stand, they can see a path between two peaks, and the four of them slowly move forward towards the path. Eclipse looks at Roman and Mercury, who also look severely emaciated. He looks back at Nine Eyes, who is heavily bandaged.
Come on, guys. We're almost there. A few more steps and we're there. Then we get to go home. We cross here, and we get to go home.
The team passes through the area between the two peaks. As they exit the pathway onto the other side, they find themselves on a wide plateau overlooking more forest and more mountains. A river cuts through the forest far below. The audio begins to become distorted.
There she is, down there. Hey, you! Turn around where I can see you!
A naked human figure is dancing on the edge of the mountain ahead. Eclipse, Roman, and Nine Eyes draw their weapons. As they approach, they can see a symbol drawn on the ground beneath her. A human heart lies discarded nearby. She is singing.
from the Panama goes walking and when.
Get on the ground. Get on the fucking ground.
The woman turns to face the group, revealing herself to be Katerina Randolph. She does not stop dancing. A large wound is visible on her chest. Get down! I swear to God, I'll fucking kill you.
Oh, but I watch her so sadly. How can I tell her I love her?
Gunshots as Roman fires on Katerina Randolph. She stumbles back slightly and laughs, and then goes quiet as Nine Eyes shoots her with her rifle. She collapses to the ground.
Fuck. Is that it?
I think that's... A sudden, loud, low droning fills the air, followed by a flash of light. All remaining members of the E13 team are knocked off their feet and fall to the ground. Roman and Nine Eyes video recorders are disabled instantaneously. The audio recorder fills with static. Eclipse stands. In the valley below them is SCP-4971 Delta, a titanic, servine entity. It does not have a head or neck. Instead, the entire structure has been replaced by a massive, vibrating, white glowing crest. Around its torso orbits white glowing orbs that, as they spin, send shimmering white particulate into the air all around it. SCP-4971 Data takes long, slow steps forward into the valley and turns to face the task force. In the center of the main seal is glowing, a circular disc with a pitch black center. The body of Katerina Randolph shivers and then is lifted upwards as if by the shoulders and hangs in the air a meter off the ground. Roman lifts his weapon to fire, but the body begins laughing.
Dad, I'm yours, have me.
The body shakes, and following the same inverted scream as heard by the I-44 team, Katerina Randolph's head collapses into itself as a spinning white seal emerges from within it. It rotates rapidly before settling and turning to face the group. In unison, the static on their radio ceases.
Yes, I would give my heart gladly, but each day as she walks to the sea...
Eclipse, Roman and Nine Eyes begin firing at Katerina Randolph, who begins to move away from them rapidly. The same low droning sound is heard as E-13 Mercury turns to flee. The moment before she passes into the pathway between the mountain peaks behind them, she turns to see Eclipse, Roman and Nine Eyes suspended in the air. As their hearts are violently pulled from their bodies by an unseen force, E-13 Mercury turns and runs.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
The skies begin to darken as the sun sets. E-13 Mercury sprints through the mountain pass, emerging again on the near side of the mountain. She takes a few steps forward and stops as the figure of Katerina Randolph appears in the air in front of her. Mercury's heart rate slows, and she reaches for the knife in her belt.
Alright, come on, you pixie bitch, let's fucking go.
Mercury rushes Katerina Randolph. There is another loud droning sound, and E-13 Mercury's audio and video feed are disabled. We now come to the final addendum 4971.10, additional transmissions. After loss of communication with both the E-13 and I-44 teams, Site 81 Command announced a moratorium on additional exploration attempts into SCP-4971, and the site was sealed. Sounds of unidentified creatures continued to be heard from within the Southwood Park Mall, but no additional teams were inserted to investigate the conditions within the mall. On October 19, 2007, a single transmitter within SCP-4971 connected and began transmitting. Following this was a considerable transfer of information to the on-site data server, including weather, topology, and electromagnetic field data from within the anomaly. In addition to this, the full video and audio logs of the I-44 and E-13 teams were transmitted. At the conclusion of this transfer, the transmitter disconnected again. On October 29, 2007, the transmitter activated again, this time showing a video feed of a Foundation-issued wideband radio tower on top of a mountain. This video feed remained for 6 minutes and 32 seconds before disconnecting. On November 19, 2007, a single still frame image of the ground was transmitted to the on-site data server, written in the dirt with the words "Still Here." On June 16, 2015, the transmitter activated for 18 seconds. During this period, a woman's face is visible. She appears to be very frightened. She pulls back far enough to mouth the words, "Can't run anymore," and "sorry," before the transmitter deactivates. No additional transmissions have been received. And that's it. That is 4971.
Very interesting indeed.
It's definitely a mess.
We need proper containment or it's going to branch out. We may have
It's true.
mild containment, but this is still ongoing.
I was thinking about this, right? Hear me out. It says all the human hearts that haven't known silence, right? So I'm assuming that means every single heart that has like never stopped beating, right? So why don't we just go through a bunch of the population and just give them like temporary cardiac arrest and then restart their hearts, and that way their hearts have known silence, right? So then all we need to do is implement a policy where we do it to babies as soon as they're born to stop new people from being added, and then we narrow it down to like 10 people and then we just sacrifice them.
The issue with
Boom.
that is, one, we'd need a global pandemic to do that, and two, a lot of people would die due to that. There's no for sure way of restarting a heart. Even if you use a EKG, it will fail and then be brought back.
Especially with a child. Also, number 3. What the fuck, Pan?
And to be fair, there is no for sure thing in place that says that is what it means.
There is no way of proving that's what it means.
And you'd also have to get the ethics committee to agree to that, which I highly doubt would even happen.
It would
Acceptable
cause
casualties.
It would cause a phenomenon across the entire globe, and we don't need that because that's
very
the
much
main issue.
would.
Imagine a worldwide pandemic where our foundations couldn't contain SCPs because we were all stuck at home.
I'm just wondering why the disruption class is only Eki. I would have put it up one myself. I'm thinking, like, especially if this, like, they're saying that if this god gets into our world, then it will be like, it will destroy the entire planet. That's got to be a little bit more than Eki. Like,
well,
you know,
currently
a meter
it is
at
Eki.
least. Wait, hang on. Have I got those the right way around? Suddenly, I don't know if I've got those the right way around or not.
Yeah, currently it is Eki. Because, one, they're not completely out there yet, and it has not had enough sacrificial lambs brought to their slaughter.
Let's see, disruption class. Disruption class. Okay, yeah, so Amida is the one above Eki. But to be fair, Eki says the known disruption would extend to roughly the size of a large metropolitan area or an entire country. The potential disruption could extend to the entire known world. The spread would be swift and difficult to manage, and we would find it quite difficult to neutralize the effects.
Currently, it is only found in a mall, so we have a little bit of leeway.
Yeah. So we know for sure it would definitely fuck up, like, you know,
What is it with pocket dimensions in malls and department stores?
There is no pocket dimension. This is something that was brought to the world by occultists.
You knew what I meant.
it's kind of a pocket dimension. It's definitely pocket dimension-ish.
We
Ish.
caused
I don't
it to be because we needed to contain it.
Yeah.
Didn't we have an Amida class the other day?
That was the one with the kaiju.
Yeah, the kaiju.
Yes.
That was Amida class, right?
I believe
Yeah.
it was.
That disruption class is reserved for special circumstances when the Foundation is essentially declaring war on an anomaly. So that makes sense. When it poses a dire threat to the status quo and the Foundation's veiled, there is no other option than to use all possible options in order to neutralize it.
Correct.
The effects of an immediate anomaly would extend to the entire world and possibly the entire universe, which is great.
Well,
Sorry, I'm going back over the ACS.
I do not believe that this one can leave our world. They would just inhabit our world.
Did you know there's an entire other segment for the esoteric class pages?
It's very interesting. We can go over them sometime. But
I feel
right
like it would be
now-
good to during one of the orientations to really dig into the things like the ACS, the various disruption classes and containment classes and all of that sort of thing, as well as all of the various world-ending scenarios that were alluded to earlier.
Or you could just talk about it, you two, over a nice cup of tea.
I do not
I'm sure
associate with him outside of this meeting room.
It's
That
true.
was a joke.
Well, hey, you never know. Maybe some of these C-class want to earn a special gold star, and they want to come back for a special briefing just covering all the ins and outs.
Doctor, what's the status on containment of the fake?
We currently cannot
Trust
disclose
me, I'm
that we
the
need
real
to
one.
leave.
I'm the real one. I'm telling you.
We actually have to get going. The times have been well overdue. I need to get back to
Yep.
work.
Bye, Pan. Just you can
okay.
finish this off.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I actually genuinely think I probably will do a little bit of a deep dive with those C-class who want to hang around. So for now, I will bid you, my colleagues.
How about we do that next week, actually? Because didn't
Yeah.
you say you must come here another week in a row because your work's going to get rather hectic?
I said that's definitely a possibility, yes. I'm still trying to find out from my site director the specific times at which my leave has been approved, and when he wants me to squeeze in that extra briefing. But yeah, that would be a good one to do for the double up. Yeah,
That would actually be very beneficial. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, in that case, unfortunately, special C-class, you'll have to come back. For
everyone in this orientation can come back. We are giving the right away for that. As for now, I do have to get going. My work is very overdue.
No problem. Although, just a side note, C-class, you're not getting paid for this.
Mine too.
Yeah, you're not getting reimbursed for this time. Just heads up. Okay, right, my wonderful colleagues, I will let you get on out, and I will talk to you all very soon. Okay?
It was a pleasure.
Okay.
See you next week.
Bye. See you later.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they spoke about 4971 today. I know. It's not too threatening, but of course, I will speak to you soon. Bye.